and provide you with your free consultation. Telephones are answered 24/7. If I am not at the office or if I am with a client, my staff or answering service will send me a text and I will return your call in a timely manner. Thank you for taking your valuable time to listen to me today. I appreciate every listener and I look forward to meeting you at your earliest convenience. For estate planning in uncertain times, I'm Attorney John D'Onofrio. Call me today, 412-928-2068. Schedule your complimentary consultation. Call today. Get peace of mind today. That's 412-928-2068. Thank you, and have a great day.
The preceding program was pre-recorded.
The proceeding was paid for by D'Onofrio Law Office, PC. Information on the program was intended to solely further the public's general knowledge about the product. Opinions expressed should not be relied upon for any purpose by any member of the audience. News Radio KDKA does not guarantee the accuracy of any of the information heard on the preceding program.
Mommy, how come I can't sit in the front seat?
Because I love you and you're just not ready yet.
Putting your kids in the right seat for their age and size is an act of love. Check that your kids are in the right seat at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Love protects. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Being diagnosed with leukemia, lymphoma, myeloma, or one of over 100 other types of blood cancer makes people want more time to do the things they love. That means more time to be artists, prom dates, world travelers, and moms. We are Blood Cancer United, the world's leading organization focused solely on blood cancer research, support, and advocacy. We do the most for more people with blood cancer, so people with blood cancer can do more of whatever they want. Blood Cancer United. Join us at bloodcancerunited.org.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
KDKA and KDKA-FM HD2 Pittsburgh. W261AX Pittsburgh.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Aetna Medicare studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Christopher Cruz in Washington. A new CBS News poll finds Americans are quite stressed out about their finances, not surprisingly. The numbers from CBS News Deputy Director of Elections and Surveys, Jennifer DePinto.
Many are frustrated with the Trump administration's approach to the economy, and neither political party is seen by a majority as helping with costs of living. 65% of Americans use the word uncertain to describe the economy, and most people worry that AI will take jobs.
President Trump says he made some good trade deals during a summit with Chinese President Xi Jinping in Beijing. On CBS's Face the Nation, U.S. Trade Representative Jameson Greer says the summit is already producing results.
We saw China over the past couple of days reduce a host of non-tariff barriers on agricultural products such as beef and poultry, etc. And so we've seen them already starting to do things to facilitate imports from the United States.
As primary season heats up, politicians from both major political parties are expressing concern about the dangers to the country of mid-cycle redistricting. Among them, Republican Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick.
18% of Americans vote in primaries. They're going to the House floor thinking about 18% of their electorate instead of 100% of their electorate. So closed primaries coupled with gerrymandering are really, really hurting our country. They're causing gridlock on the House floor.
He spoke on CBS's Face the Nation. It's the last hurrah for Republican Senator Bill Cassidy. Primary voters in Louisiana effectively denied him a third term yesterday.
Cassidy had the power of President Trump's endorsement working against him and for challenger Julia Letlow, a Trump loyalist in the House.
God bless President Trump.
She goes to a runoff against Louisiana's treasurer, John Fleming. Cassidy earned Trump's ire by voting to remove him from office over the insurrection at the Capitol. He was gracious toward his opponents.
I congratulated them both,
allowing himself a pointed reference to democracy.
Sometimes it doesn't turn out the way you want it to, but you don't pout, you don't whine, You don't claim the election was stolen?
Michael Toscano, CBS News.
It's been tough getting into New York City this weekend. Employees of the Long Island Railroad are on strike. CBS News New York reporter John Diaz is at Penn Station.
The MTA says it has activated its contingency plan, which includes recommended subway stations as passenger drop-off points to get into the city. But if you don't have a ride, there will be limited free shuttle buses from several Long Island train stations to subway connections in Queens. You got Bayshore, Hicksville, Mineola, and Lakeview. Those will be going to Howard Beach JFK Airport, then Ronkonkoma and Huntington to Jamaica 179th Street.
This is CBS News.
Every Sunday, moderator Margaret Brennan goes face-to-face with top leaders to make you better informed. Face the Nation, Sunday on CBS and streaming on Paramount+.
Download to see if you qualify. Not all customers will qualify. Transfer fees may apply. No Albert subscription required. Albert is not a bank. Albert Instant Loans are issued by FinWise Bank, member FDIC. Not an actual client. Terms apply.
Kylie, what's wrong?
I just got hit with a car repair bill. I'm behind on rent, and I feel like I can never save any money.
Have you tried the Albert app? Albert is your financial assistant, helping you find ways to save and create custom budgets to actually grow your money. Plus, you can get up to $10,000 for big expenses, or advance up to $1,000 fast when you need cash right away.
Albert can get me up to $10,000?
Exactly. Albert spots you in a pinch and helps you grow your money in the long run.
I'm downloading Albert right now.
Download the Albert app and use promo code GO to borrow up to $10,000 for whatever you need. The Albert app helps you budget better and save more money so you reach your financial goals faster. Download the Albert app right now and use promo code GO to borrow up to $10,000. Use code GO to borrow up to $10,000.
A teenager is working with a hospital in San Francisco to try to reduce plastic waste.
16-year-old Brandon Lynn collects uncontaminated plastic containers and medication caps at Lucille Packard Children's Hospital at Stanford University.
So far, I've saved over 2,100 pounds of plastic out of the landfills.
A recycling plant turns the plastic into combs and clipboards.
It hasn't touched anybody. It's not a biohazard, and it's really clean and frankly ideal for recycling.
Pediatric ICU nurse Karen Sereznak is all for it.
There is a lot of plastic waste here and in every hospital.
Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Venezuela's government says it has deported a close ally of deposed President Nicolas Maduro to face judicial proceedings in the United States. The man was pardoned less than 3 years ago by President Biden as part of a prisoner swap. Christopher Cruz, CBS News.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred roofing replacement contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Warmer this afternoon with a mix of sun and clouds. A thunderstorm can't be ruled out. We'll have a high of 84. Partly cloudy, low 62 tonight. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
And now,
you want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle.
Lenny McAllister.
The way we bring back America and bring people together is by making sure we hold everybody accountable in a 360 fashion.
Yes, there is a change that we can believe in, but it will never come from a politician or a government program.
Lenny McAllister. Well spoken.
We got to move away from the American Idol soundbite nature of politics back to the American statesman of humble servant leadership that we used to see in politics.
If we get some common sense governing from both sides of the aisle, we can finally get Americans through the recession, not just Wall Street.
Principles or politics? I'd rather have principles.
I speak to the kids in the street. Well, I'm never going to lay down being conservative just as much as I'll never lay down being a proud African American.
I feel like a black Republican. Money I got coming in. Can't turn my back on the hood. I got love for them.
Well, we actually do have a sunny Sunday afternoon, and it is a pleasant good afternoon I extend to you. This is Lenny McAllister here on News Radio KDKA. I shall open up the phone lines, but only if you say pretty please, because y'all can be nasty sometimes when you call into 866-391-1020. And I ain't having it. I'm not having it today. It's too glorious of a Sunday. So just telling you all now proactively, knock it off. Just kidding, of course. I want all of it. I want all that smoke. 866-391-1020. I shall open up the phone lines eventually. I'm going to get to Gordon Chang first and foremost at the bottom of the hour. He has a book out that's called Plan Red, China's Project to Destroy America. He has some insight as to what transpired with the trip that we just saw earlier this week between the two leaders of the two largest economies in the world and where we sit with that in regards to the war with Iran, that's not a war, and the trade war, that's not a trade war, with the Chinese. So I want to talk to him about where we sit with that, what both good and bad came out of it, because everybody has their own 2 cents they want to contribute to that. So I will get to that. I kick off these shows, as you well know, kind of bringing some good news, some good tidings, if you will, even though there's no snow outside, even though if we hold our breath, it's Pittsburgh, it might snow tomorrow. No. Actually, it's going to be 90-plus degrees tomorrow, the other extreme. That said, 3 things. Now, you've heard me continuously talk about A Venn Diagram of One, An American Story, my book that's coming out in August. You can pre-order it now, barnesandnoble.com, Amazon, Books A Million, etc. It will be on Target, it will be on Walmart, and it will be on bookshelves physically across the nation starting August 11th. Well, if there was ever a week, really over the last 7 days, the 10 days, I'll extend it, not just 1 week, but the second half of this week, the last 7 to 10 days, that exemplifies the title of that book, A Venn Diagram of One, An American Story. It was this last 7 to 10 days, even though there's a lot that's there. Even if you go look at the cover of the book when you go online, you will see that the 2 forwards are written by Michael Steele. That one's for you, Bishop. Michael Steele wrote one of the forwards to the book, the former chair of the Republican National Committee, the first ever African-American chair of the RNC, and Dr. Jason Johnson, who is a left-leaning political scientist, MS Now contributor, Slate contributor, used to have a podcast on Slate, former managing editor, one of the managing editors of The Root, on and on until the break of dawn, currently a professor at Morgan State University. So you got one on the right, one on the left, co-forwards, if you check out the cover of the book. You will also see some of the graphics and the art design that kind of also talks about a Venn diagram of one. And those things are all cute in theory. Over the last 7 to 10 days, talk about a Venn diagram of one. I had the honor of talking to Pittsburgh Public School students at my parents' alma mater, Westinghouse High School. We are the house and the house don't budge, is what they used to talk, or don't move or something like that. You know how people are about their alma maters. Class is 61. And all the McAllisters and all my mom's side of the family all went to Westinghouse. So I heard about Westinghouse my whole life. We still have family members that live right in the shadows of the school. So to be able to go back with Leon Ford and talk to kids about civics and civil rights from 2 different perspectives that have a common bond at my parents' alma mater was just a thrill. So all the wonderful teachers that teach at Westinghouse High School, all the people that are part of the leadership of Westinghouse High School, thank you for having us. And it was an honor to walk those halls once again. Now, that's not the first time I've been there. I have volunteered there as a mentor since I came back to Pittsburgh in 2013. That was the way I wanted to honor my late mother, was being a mentor with the Urban League initially, and do that off and on over the years. And the last opportunity was 10 days ago. That's number 1. Number 2, I just got confirmed that I will be speaking at the Teachers Freedom Summit in Dallas, Texas in July as a keynote speaker. Now, for those of you that are like, what's the Teachers Freedom Summit? It is basically an organization that does some professional development of teachers, but also talks about the business behind teaching, so that teachers are freed from the business behind the profession of education, oftentimes the very industry that gets in the way of educating kids. And it makes life easier for those teachers to be able to teach the kids in a way that is focused on the vocation of education, not the industry of education. Now, for those of you that wonder what's the difference, the vocation is the love of teaching kids and feeding into the kids. The industry ends up being more often than not everything from teachers' unions, school board fights, elections, and things along those lines. All the red tape, the bureaucratic travesties that happen that end up jamming up kids and leaving them behind. The Teachers Freedom Summit gets a lot of that stuff out the way. Now, what I'm going to be speaking to will be the beauty of civics in America 250. Finding the ways to inspire people to take things to the next level as Americans. So I'm less talking about the bureaucratic aspect of things. I'm more talking about the inspirational aspect of things. So I'll be giving a keynote address to that organization mid-July. So you can imagine that's probably center right. First one, they're kids. They shouldn't have a political affiliation per se. Then I find out, and this is a great honor for me because I've had family members that have been involved with the NAACP. I have marched with the NAACP. I am a member of the NAACP. I confirmed that I will be the MC for the Pittsburgh NAACP annual dinner here June 5th. I still think tickets are available. I still think that if you want to go to their website, you can secure your spot if you so choose. And I am the MC of the night, which is both interesting and some would say dangerous. It's not going to be dangerous. We have to imagine, let's just put it out there, be real, because I don't want to say it on the night of the June 5th. If you took account of Republicans that are going to be in the House on June 5th, you probably can take account of Republicans maybe on two hands, possibly on one hand, maybe on all your fingers, which is less than your hand for those that are counting at home. Anyhow, there was a joke there. I'm going to keep it to myself. That said, there are things that are more fundamental than being Republican or Democrat in America. And the very fact that I'm going to have the opportunity to be the MC at the Pittsburgh NAACP annual dinner on June 5th, which is coming up in less than 3 weeks, I see as a great honor to be able to bring people together. I feel like it exemplifies that being American is more than being partisan, which 95% of America seems to have forgotten. And I like to think that a Venn diagram of one, whether you're talking about the title of the book or kind of how I live my life, shows that it's still viable and pragmatic to do as a lifestyle. So I'm honored to, again, Westinghouse High School already done. Teachers Freedom Summit coming up mid-July. The NAACP dinner here in Pittsburgh, June 5th. And the cherry on top. I alluded to it last week. I will officially announce it and ask you all to sign up for it. My book, A Venn Diagram of One, where you can find more information about on LennyMcAllister.com. The book will be featured in an event with the Ronald Reagan Foundation. Over 1.2 million subscribers on YouTube. Over 55,000 benefactors, to my understanding. We will be doing an event on August 12th that will be a full-length interview about the book and about my perspectives on where we're going, America 250 and beyond. So you can go to a couple places. You can go to LennyMcAllister.com. You can follow me on social media. You can go to the Ronald Reagan Foundation and just put in my name, Lenny McAllister. You will see the picture. You will see the event. Sign up. It's on August 12th, which is a very special day for me, and it's also a special day for the book because there's a unique tie to that, and I'll talk about that later. But here's the thing. Within 7 to 10 days, you have some things to the right, some things to the left, some things talking to almost exclusively black folks, some things speaking to almost exclusively white folks, some things Republican, some things not as Republican. They're all American. And when people ask me, and they're starting to, in national interviews that I've been doing and the like, why did you write this book? Well, number one, I feel like I have a very unique story. Not a lot of people work with Jesse Jackson Sr. and Michael Steele and spoke with the Tea Party and marched with Al Sharpton and the NAACP and former Black Panthers. Doesn't usually happen. I quoted everybody from the Nation of Islam to Eminem to the authors of the Federalist Papers in this book. And it works. Why? Because all of those people are American. Even if they disagree on many, many things, they agree on certain American values. The fact that those four things transpired over the last 7 to 10 days, in one regard, shows what we could still do as a country when we work together, when we are honest, when we are ethical, when we choose to lead and not follow. Number two, I will just say it, there's not a lot of people that can do that. There's not a lot of people that can hit all four of those things with comfort and belonging. Kind of being somebody that either is of everybody or of nobody. It all depends on how you want to view it. But I'm honored to do all of them because every single segment that I mentioned, those four items, Westinghouse High School, Teachers Freedom Summit, Pittsburgh NAACP Annual Dinner, and the Reagan Foundation, they're all full of Americans. And many, many, many of those Americans are tired of status quo, tired of the same images, tired of the same way of doing things. They're looking for people that during America 250 and beyond can help them be transformative in their lives. When people ask me, why did I write the book? I'm hoping that with the life lessons, small and as large as they were in my life, I can show that there's a way to still come together despite our diversity. Not let diversity be divisiveness. Let diversity be a set of differences that makes us stronger overall. So I announced those things. I will talk more about them as the timelines go towards those events. I will open up the phone lines eventually at 866-391-1020, of course, after I talk to Gordon Chang. But I wanted to share that news with you. Go sign up for the Reagan Foundation event. If you want to go to the dinner, I'm sure the NAACP will enjoy your presence there at their annual fundraising dinner. And if you really want to go down to Dallas, you can see me give a keynote address down there as well, even though I'll be giving plenty of them, whether it's here in Allegheny County, in Western Pennsylvania, or back out east with the Union League and the like. So very blessed last 10 days. But more to come, more to come, more to come. 866-391-1020. After the interview, I promise I will talk to you then. And in the meanwhile, got to take a break. We're on the one and only News Radio, KDKA.
News, weather, traffic, and business every day. Hear it on News Radio KDKA.
Here's the latest from the KDKA Community Message Board.
Coons Quality Foods now offers convenient curbside pickup and home delivery services. Visit coonsmarket.com to place your order and schedule pickup or delivery. Available now at all Coons locations. Coons Quality Foods, a Pittsburgh tradition. NASCO Roofing takes pride in exceeding customers' expectations. If the winter storms caused you damage, get NASCO on your roof and see why they've satisfied thousands of customers. Call 412-373-2000 for NASCO Roofing. Obsessed with pizza? So are they at Slice on Broadway. The 2025 winner of World's Best Cheese Pizza Slice is right here in the Berg with 6 Pittsburgh locations, always serving delicious New York-style pizza, hoagies, and salads. Order yours today. Visit sliceonbroadway.com.
Details at kdkaradio.com.
Take a break and come out with us tonight.
Not tonight, man.
Come on. You deserve a night out. You're going to miss out.
Miss out on what? While you stayed home, they won big. They celebrated. They got the suite, stayed up all night, and made memories. And you weren't there. Some nights are too good to sit out. Rivers Casino. Don't miss the moment.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Billy, your gas light's on. We need to stop and fill up.
No way, Jen. Gas around here is too expensive. We can make it a little further.
Billy, listen to your big sister. You don't need to drive all over searching for the lowest gas prices. Do what I do and use Upside.
Upside?
Do you live under a rock, Billy? Upside is the hottest cashback app out there. It's free to download, and you get real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. I use it all the time, and I've already made around $200.
You can make that kind of cash back just for buying the gas you have to buy anyway?
Yes, I'm looking at the Upside app now, and there's a gas station at the next exit offering 25 cents per gallon cash back.
Okay, I'm stopping to download Upside and fill up my tank. Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code BLING to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code BLING for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code BLING for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
If you're only good to your new friends, you're not going to have any old ones. Straight Talk gets it. That's why new and existing customers get free 5G phones on Verizon's 5G network. Pretty simple, really. You keep good people by being good people.
Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Taxes and fees apply. Plan purchase required for free phone offers. Copyright 2026 Verizon.
Liberty Mutual customized this song for you. Like your car insurance, it's custom too, yeah. Liberty Mutual's got the coverage that could save you money. Thanks to Doug and Limu, well now you can go and take that cruise. Liberty, 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 yeah.
Did you know that Lachina Drapery and Blind Factory has their own factory, fabric warehouse, and showroom right here in Pittsburgh? Lachina doesn't just sell their beautiful custom products, they make them. From exquisite fabrics to custom draperies to blinds, shades, shutters, and upholstery, you get Lachina's expertise from start to finish. Visit Lachina's showrooms in Dormont and Wexford. Call 412-665-4900 to book a free Lachina shop-at-home visit or book online at lachinadrapery.com.
The KDKA radio text line is driven by Kenny Ross Auto Group. Find your best deal and Pittsburgh's best warranty at kennyross.com.
SchultzFord.com. 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 SchultzFord.com.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
Now, I know there will probably be a few of you that are saying, okay, was that supposed to be a brag reel? Or what were you trying to do by listing out those things? Two things. Number one, people have been asking on national interviews. I'm going to have something on Town Hall coming out this week. I'm going to be doing something on XM Radio coming out in about a week or 2 weeks. I've already done something on the Michael Medved show. People are asking, why am I doing speeches the way I'm doing them? Why am I doing interviews the way I'm doing them? And why did I write the book? I wanted to, one, answer that question, but also sometimes it's better to just show what I'm talking about versus talk about it. If I talk about unity and coming together, everybody does that. And then the moment somebody throws a topic out there, everybody's divisive and nobody's trying to connect people together anymore. Well, I mean, I would work with them, but they hate America. And it's like, oh my gosh. So to be able to genuinely say, okay, look, I did these 4 things over the last 10 days. Now, for those of you that have followed my career over the last 20 to 25 years, around 22 years, you know that this is just a normal week. What did Captain America say? I can do this all day. So it's just how I live. Now, will that put me in the MAGA universe? No, it won't. And it didn't. Even when I ran 10 years ago, it did not. Will that make people look at me and not know what to make of me? Sometimes it does. And that could be uncomfortable. But leadership from an American standpoint, from a Christian standpoint, from a family standpoint, sometimes you have to be uncomfortable. And there are times we have to remind people of that discomfort so that they can see it's okay to be uncomfortable. We got this. Now, sometimes you got to show them we got this through a tangible, lived experience. So that's the reason why I listed that out. And yeah, I was just kind of being a little honest. There ain't a whole lot of people that do what I do. Love me or hate me, I can go to Westinghouse High School and I can go to Fox Chapel Country Club. I literally did that in a day 2 weeks ago. I can go from the hood to the Capitol Hill Club. I used to do that in D.C. Used to do the south side of Chicago. It's available in America. We are still more alike than we are different, but it does take a certain type of viewpoint, I would dare say even just life experience and relationship forming capability to show that. I feel like for whatever reason, God gave me this microphone and certain platforms to do that. Not to brag on myself, but to show people that we collectively can do it. Out of many is truly one. So that's why. Coming back after the news, we'll talk to Gordon Chang after the news here on News Radio KDKA.
Hey, folks, my friends at NASCO Roofing take pride in exceeding customer expectations. Scott from Aspinwall was amazed at NASCO's quality, honesty, work ethic, and superior craftsmanship. Scott loved working with NASCO and appreciated that NASCO doesn't use high-pressure sales tactics like other companies. NASCO has satisfied thousands like Scott. Get NASCO on your roof. Call NASCO Roofing, 412-373-2000, 412-373-2000. Most jobs done in a day. Special financing available. NASCO Roofing, NASCO.
Pool days call for cookouts and lots of laundry. This Memorial Day at Lowe's, save $80 on a Charbroil Performance Series 4-burner gas grill. Now just $199. Plus, get up to 45% off select major appliances to keep dishes, clothes, and food fresh. Having fun in the sun is easy with us in your corner. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 5/27. While supplies last. Selection varies by location. See associate or Lowe's.com for details.
At Audion Hearing, our mission is simple: to make better hearing affordable for everyone. We're proud to offer high-quality, rechargeable hearing aids starting at just $98. Clear, comfortable, and ready to use right out of the box. And here's a study worth hearing. Research shows that wearing hearing aids can reduce your risk of dementia by up to 61%. Join over 1 million happy customers and hear the difference today by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
New to Medicare, get covered with MediConnect. Listen Wednesdays around 1:40 to hear Lance O'Brien of MediConnect help you navigate the Medicare process. Simply great, unbiased information to get you the best healthcare coverage. Get covered with MediConnect. Medicare made simple.
For generations, you've listened to us in your kitchen, catching baseball games on your front porch, and ending your day as your bedtime buddy. Now, you can watch us every day on your TV with our new KDKA Radio YouTube page or by clicking on KDKARadio.com. It's presented by Metropolitan Windows. Same great content, more live visuals. The voice of Pittsburgh, 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
News, weather, traffic, and business every day. Hear it on News Radio KDKA. From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
CBS News Brief. A new CBS News poll finds Americans aren't happy with either political party. Here's CBS News Director of Elections and Surveys, Anthony Salvanto.
Neither of the parties, not the Democrats, not the Republicans, are net positive on being seen as having policies that help cost of living.
Employees of the Long Island Railroad are on the picket lines. Here's CBS's Allie Bauman.
The New York Comptroller estimates this strike will cost the region $61 million a day in lost economic activity. And the real impact will be felt on Monday when commuters go to work.
Louisiana Republican Senator Bill Cassidy has lost his primary. State Treasurer John Fleming and Congresswoman Julia Letlow advanced to a runoff.
I'm so indebted to you, Louisiana. Thank you so much for giving me this honor of a lifetime. God bless you all. God bless President Trump. God bless Louisiana. And God bless the United States of America. God bless you.
CBS News Brief. I'm Christopher Cruz.
When it comes to family law, a lot has changed in recent years, so assumptions can be costly. If you see or sense a change coming in your family life that could have legal implications, it's important to know where you stand. Getting good legal advice early is never a bad idea. I'm Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. If you or anyone you know is facing a family law issue, start with a consultation. Visit CordellCordell.com.
Pittsburgh and Cranberry Township. Joseph Cordell. Licensed in Missouri and Illinois only.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
We'll have a mix of sun and clouds this afternoon with a warmer high of 84. We also can't rule out a thunderstorm, remaining warm with patchy clouds, low 62 for tonight. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
Hi, this is Larry Richard. Join us Monday in the Big K Morning Show, 5:30 until 10. Another big thing coming to Pittsburgh. We'll tell you about it first thing Monday.
As I mentioned to you previously, I got Gordon Chang on. He is the author of the best-selling book, Plan Red, China's Project to Destroy America. Gordon, thank you for joining me here on News Radio KDKA.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Lenny.
So everybody has their opinion as to why this brief summit, if you will, between the two leaders of the two largest economies in the world ended up meeting and then what the yield of that was. Some people are saying it's all about the Iran war. Some people are saying it's all about the ongoing trade wars that we've been having both during Trump Part 1 and Trump Part 2. Some people are saying they're trying to back up off of tariffs. What probably drove the conversations this time around, and how effective was that primary goal with these two leaders meeting?
Yeah, great questions. First of all, most China-U.S. summits are actually sort of done in advance, everything decided beforehand. This one is not. So we really won't know very much about this summit for a couple months. And then maybe the outlines will emerge. So this is a sort of a long-term thing. And I think this summit was actually so important that historians will be talking about it for decades. But at least right now, there's very little that we know. I mean, we've heard what President Trump has said, but we don't know whether those agreements will actually be documented and how this will go. Two things have actually happened in the last couple hours. One of them is that China's Ministry of Commerce said that they will go forward with a Board of Trade and a Board of Investment. That's something that Treasury Secretary Bessent said that he wanted in the run-up to the summit. And also we're getting reports from Reuters that China's agreed to $17 billion of U.S. ag purchases each year for about 3 years. So those are the two things that we know. And the issue of why it was so important was because you got the two big economies. Right now, they've got a lot of issues, goes across the board. And so there was a lot of things that needed to be talked about. But I generally think that at some point we need to start imposing costs on China for what it's been doing and stop talking, because China uses negotiations and discussions and flowery language to get us to delay taking actions that are absolutely necessary for us.
Now, Gordon, is that not the same exact thing we've been hearing about the Iranians and their leadership? That, you can get them to the table, they will say a lot of the things that you like, and then when you actually look at the proposal, it ends up being wanting. So with the Chinese and the Iranians being allies and us having this situation, obviously, with the Iranians, what do you think breaks the fever first? Do you think it's something like this summit that maybe influenced the Iranians, or do you think that we'll have better negotiations and conversations with the Chinese once we get past this situation with Iran?
Yeah, once we get past the situation with Iran, we have much more bargaining power. And it's not that President Trump needs the Chinese. He doesn't. He said that before he left for Beijing, and he's been saying it afterwards, and he's absolutely right about that. But the idea that he's going to China in the middle of a war, to the capital of an enemy combatant, is not a good look. And the Chinese have tried to exploit that. So, he did not go for the summit that was originally scheduled March 31 because of the war. Well, the war hadn't ended last week, so I don't know if he should have gone then. But clearly he wanted to. So, we got the summit, and we're just going to have to see where this goes. But I think he would have had much more President Trump would have had much more leverage had he gotten Iran in the box before he had headed for Beijing.
So let me ask you this, and again, I'm talking to Gordon Chang, the author of the best-selling book, Plan Red, China's Project to Destroy America. You mentioned a phrase, not a good look. Now, we know that this Trump administration, and particularly this president, is all about perception. And we also well know that in politics, in many, many ways, perception is political reality. So on the surface, it could look like it wasn't a good look for him to go to China. How could the Trump administration pivot this in a way that it ends up being a strength, both when it comes to opening up the Strait of Hormuz, but also with the trade war with China? What ways could they pivot what could be seen as a weakness and pivot it into a strength?
Well, President Trump said on Air Force One that China has agreed not to sell arms to Iran. Problem is, Trump has said that before, and so it's not new, and we know that the Chinese have been selling arms in the interim. So, in a sense, that isn't a good look. And as I said, I don't think that Trump needs China's help on Iran. China is a bystander. Trump can starve Iran into submission, and he can also put a lot of pressure. By starving Iran, he puts pressure on China as well. So, Trump doesn't need China, and I think he needs to emphasize that message. On trade, I think Trump is going to say that China's agreed to buy all sorts of stuff. We've heard that before, Lenny. As a matter of fact, there was actually a Phase 1 trade agreement in January 2020. That agreement had self-enforcement mechanisms that we could have employed, and yet the Chinese still violated that agreement. So I think the American people are going to be happy that the Chinese have agreed to buy stuff, but they're going to be happier when they actually do.
One of the things that we talk about a lot here in Western Pennsylvania, Gordon, is the espionage from a corporate perspective that transpires with the Chinese. And a lot of Pittsburgh-based or Pittsburgh-affiliated organizations over the last several years, including Westinghouse and a few others, had to deal with that specifically with the Chinese. This is something we haven't heard a lot about recently. Where are we sitting with that? And what can be done from an American perspective to make sure that even as we compete against the Chinese in the global economy, it's done in a more fair way where the espionage isn't rampant like it's been over the last several years?
Yeah, we as a society have decided not to take action against the Chinese for espionage, even though it costs us $500 billion a year. And so this is on us, Lenny. And I'm afraid that we're taking actions that will actually increase China's ability to steal. So, for instance, Trump wants Chinese investment into the U.S. That means more Chinese plants. That means that they can steal more. He's also talked about increasing the number of Chinese students in our country. And again, that gives them more opportunity to steal, because we know that our law enforcement is already overwhelmed with Chinese attempts. FBI is overwhelmed. Local law enforcement's overwhelmed. The way you deal with the espionage problem is you don't invite more Chinese into our country. Matter of fact, the way to deal with it is you do less. And the issue is, President Trump brought all those CEOs, 17 of them, to Beijing. The best way to increase Chinese espionage is to have more Chinese American investment in China. So this is a conscious political decision to allow the Chinese to steal our stuff. And the American people should be, I think, upset about this. They should be upset at the Chinese, of course, but they also need to be upset at their own political leaders. And Trump is by no means the only American president who is moving in the wrong direction. You got Biden, you got Trump before him, you got Obama before him. This is just on us. This is our fault, Lenny. We know what to do. We know the cost we can impose, and we have decided not to do that.
Gordon, why are they capitulating to them then? What is it that they're worried about? I understand the population's 3 times as much. I understand the workforce is growing, but they're still the second largest economy, and they're still an economy that has this weird blend of first world and second world elements to it, whereas the United States has been in this position since the Cold War. Why is there this deference from these multiple presidential administrations, as you've listed out?
Well, I can give you the names of the people who can answer that question. There are Barack Obama, Joseph Biden, and Donald Trump, because I don't understand it. But they obviously feel that this is in their political interest to do so. They get a lot of pressure from Wall Street. They get a lot of pressure from companies, and, to do business. So, the question really is, what political calculus do they see? I think they're making the wrong calculus for the United States as a whole.
So I'm going to get very Tea Party-esque on you for just a second, because I'm sure that there are some people out there, Gordon, and again, I'm talking to Gordon Chang, the author of the best-selling book, Plan Red, China's Project to Destroy America. Gordon, if you go back 20 years around the angst of the Tea Party, the thing that they used to say, and all the way back to Ron Paul and then the Tea Party, was the national debt. And how much of our overall national debt is owned by the Japanese and the Chinese? How much does that owning of our debt in China have to do with some of the possible capitulation and some of the condoning of the corporate espionage and some of the other, bad acts that we have seen from China on the global stage?
That's a really important question. I can't tell you what the motivations are of the presidents and how they felt it, but they should feel none. China's owning of America debt should have no influence on this. And the reason is, it doesn't give the Chinese it doesn't give them any financial pull if you look at the markets. First of all, the Chinese own less of our debt than they did 3, 4, 5 years ago. They've had to sell U.S. debt in order to support the renminbi, their currency. They say that they're reducing their debt in our treasuries, but they've also been, and their official reserves do go down a little bit, but they've been compensating by buying U.S. dollars in unofficial reserves and in other ways. But if you look at the global markets, and the Chinese threaten to use the debt as a bomb against us, but the markets don't permit them to do that. And the reason is that if they threaten to sell our debt, they get back dollars, because 100% of our debt is denominated in our own currency. To hurt us, they got to dump those dollars. To dump those dollars, they got to buy currencies other than, they got to buy pounds, got to buy euros.
That are not worth the same. Exactly.
And that means those countries have to go out into the global markets to rebalance their currencies because they're shoot up. So they got to buy dollars to bring their currencies back down to normal levels. So the Chinese, as a practical matter, financial market matter, they don't have that leverage, but we do think they have it. And so you had Hillary Clinton talk about you can't argue with your banker. Well, yes, you can argue with your banker because your banker basically, in this case, has virtually no leverage. It only has psychological leverage.
Let me ask this question. We're talking about economic debt right now, Gordon. What about the innovation debt? Where are we when it comes to their students and their levels of rising innovators versus our students and our rising levels of innovation? Because, again, the battle between the United States and the Chinese is not necessarily one of two militaries. It's about jobs. It's about economic strength, but it's also about technology and innovation. Coming out of this summit, where are we positioned with that, especially with those CEOs going over with President Trump? And how do we gain the upper hand now that this has transpired over the last couple of days?
We are a much more innovative society than China when it comes to science and technology or social media or what other things. We're very good at getting, as they say, 0 to 1. Where the Chinese are good at is getting from 1 to 10. And so we don't necessarily commercialize our innovative advances. Just to give you an example, quantum communications, the Chinese are 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years ahead of us. Who developed the idea of quantum communications? Well, that was an American named Albert Einstein, who who was able to identify the spooky phenomena, as it's called. In other words, two particles separated by great distances moving in tandem, which permits you to have quantum communications. Well, we did not pursue it, and the Chinese did. The same thing with hypersonic flight. We were the first nation to do that, and now we are behind the Chinese. So it's an issue where they can do very well in taking our concepts and refining and advancing them and doing better with those concepts than we do. But China can't get 0 to 1, and that is going to, I think, remain the case for a very long time.
Talking to Gordon Chang, he's the author of the best-selling book, Plan Red, China's Project to Destroy America. Before I let you go, kind sir, what should everyday Americans be looking at? Because we're talking from a presidential perspective and an administration perspective, but there are millions of Americans that still, in essence, push the buttons on 535 people on Capitol Hill that can help influence or, dare I say, even drive some of the presidential agendas over the next couple of months and years. What types of things should the everyday American be looking at their representatives, 435 of them running for re-election, and 1/3 of the Senate running for election in 2026? What should be on top of mind when it comes to American-Chinese relations to make sure that Americans have more jobs and have more opportunities in the global marketplace?
We have to recognize the maliciousness of the Chinese regime, how the Chinese regime is trying to take down our society, which means that they are waging what they call an unrestricted warfare against us, which means we need to protect our society from China, which means not trying to cooperate with the Chinese as much as we would like to. It means opposing them. And there are all sorts of bills in Congress that people should be supporting. So this is just an issue of enemy recognition. We refuse to recognize that Osama bin Laden was a threat to the U.S., even after he killed 6 Americans with the bombing of the North Tower of the World Trade Center in 1993. So we Americans are very bad at recognizing threats. We only recognize them after they kill us in large numbers.
One final question for you, kind sir. What lessons could we learn from how Reagan dealt with the Soviet Union during the Cold War to deal with this economic and geopolitical Cold War with the Chinese? Are there lessons we can learn there where we end up treating them as an enemy, but still using both soft power and hard power in order to force the Chinese into a box where their level of threat can be reduced significantly? Are there lessons we can learn between 40 years ago and apply them today?
Absolutely. Reagan wrote the playbook, and Reagan had the courage to say what a lot of people thought but were not willing to say. He said that the Soviet Union was an evil empire, and it was. And China is just as evil and in many ways more sinister and more insidious and more evil, and we need to be able to say that. And especially we need the President of the United States to say that. I think he believes it, but he is not willing to say it. And until he's willing to say it, we're not going to defend our society with the vigor and determination that's necessary. We're a far stronger society than China, but China can take us down because they're attacking us all the time, and we refuse to recognize that.
Author Gordon Chang, author of the best-selling book, Plan Red, China's Project to Destroy America. Kind sir, thank you for joining me here on News Radio KDKA.
Well, thank you so much, Lenny. I really appreciate it.
Have a wonderful day. God bless. And folks, 866-391-1020, taking a break, opening up the phone lines and getting to you afterwards here on the one and only News Radio KDKA.
When the weather turns bad, turn to us for the best news, weather, and traffic information from the KDKA Radio Storm Center. Presented by Duquesne Light Company. Larger than light. Online and on the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
Vacation costs add up fast. The rental, the gas, the groceries. What about the stuff you actually want to spend money on? So before you book through a third-party site, visit SWAC Vacations directly. When you book direct, you skip the platform fees and keep more money in your vacation budget. Explore family-friendly vacation rentals at beaches, lakes, and mountains you love. Visit swacvacations.com, SWACK Vacations. Less wasted on fees, more saved for memories.
We've got some marvelous May savings at Coons Market. Isn't that right, Frank Dentisi?
Right, Rob. In our meat department, all natural pork baby back ribs are $3.88 a pound. In the produce department, all-purpose Idaho potatoes, 5-pound bags, $1.99 each. In the deli, Coons Fresh Chef Salads are $6.99 each, and additional savings this week, selected varieties of Turkey Hill ice cream, 46-ounce containers, 2 for $7.
Get in on those marvelous May savings at Coons Market, a Pittsburgh tradition.
Do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Penalties and interest are piling up every single day. Wage garnishments and bank levies could hit any moment. If you've been avoiding it out of fear, you're not alone. But waiting only shrinks your options and ramps up the stress. The truth is, the IRS settles with taxpayers every day through legitimate programs, and many qualify to reduce what they owe, in some cases by up to 99%. That's why thousands turn to helpwithirsdebt.com. They've guided over 120,000 Americans, resolved more than $2.3 billion in tax debt, and back every case with their ironclad resolution guarantee. If there's no real path forward, you get a full refund, no fine print. They even randomly select one qualifying client each year and pay off their entire IRS balance. Terms apply. Don't let another day pass. Go to helpwithirsdebt.com right now. It's fast, easy, and confidential. Find out what's possible today. Helpwithirsdebt.com. Once again, that's helpwithirsdebt.com.
The birds are singing, the flowers are in bloom, the sun is shining. What more can we ask for? Maybe to feel great and be the best version of ourselves. This is Dr. Shufo from the Weight Loss and Wellness Center. Isn't it time to take care of ourselves now? We put it off during the cold, dark, dreary days of winter. But it's time now. Get rid of that extra weight, which affects our movement, our physical health, and yes, affects our mental and emotional health. Have more self-confidence and self-esteem. Be happy, be healthy, be alive. Call me at 1-800-900-THIN.
Bring your home back to life with Zero Res, a fresher clean that you can actually feel. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $139 and whole home air duct cleaning starting at just $5.99. Visit ZeroResPGH.com and tell them KDKA sent you.
SchultzFord.com. 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 SchultzFord.com.
While you sleep, there are people you've never met who are working hard to make your morning. People who get up at ungodly hours to make sure you get the information you want. People who dedicate their lives to make yours better while you sleep. These people come together during the Big K Morning Show with Larry Richert, 5:30 to 10 in the morning, to make sure you have the best news, traffic, and weather to start your day. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
All right, so top of the hour, 866-391-1020. Phone lines will be open. I'm willing to talk about what transpired with the Trump trip to Beijing with Xi Jinping and where we think that's going to lie. I know many of you primarily like, when are the gas prices going down? I thought that this trip to China was going to bring down the gas prices. If it would have gone swimmingly, yes, and we would have gotten some things. I appreciate Gordon Chang's comments and his analysis on this. We could talk about that because when you're in politics, it's less public policy and more politics. This is truly political. When you're in politics, you have to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time. You got to be in 6 and 7 lanes at once. And that trip over to China needed to not only influence what's transpiring with Iran, but also needs to look at this trade war. And by the way, folks, I have reminded you of this repeatedly. This is a trade war that started in 2018, 2019. That got paused, A, because of COVID, B, because Trump lost. It got reinitiated with all the tariffs last year. This has now been going on for 13 plus months. Do not think for a moment that part of the reason why he went over there was not because the job numbers are bad. You need to have something when it comes to economic developments that spurns job growth in America. You cannot add roughly 75,000 jobs a month. I think we have 300,000 jobs total in 2026. It's 75,000 jobs a month. That's not good enough for the region, like several states, much less the country. I think replacing jobs hits us at like 120,000 a month. And if you notice, every time we revise down. I told you what the numbers looked like last year in 2025. Part of this ongoing dynamic that impacts us here in Western Pennsylvania and across the Commonwealth and across the country is very simply this. You got a war going on with our military, but you also have a trade war and an economic war going on simultaneously at a time where we're awful divided as well domestically. That trip was trying to resolve a couple of wars at the same exact time. I don't know how it will turn out, and I think Gordon Chang was correct. We'll find out later how successful the negotiations and the bargaining ended up being. 866-391-1020. Go into news, then go into the phones. 866-391-1020. Hour 1 in the books. Hour 2 in that chapter's opening up after the news on News Radio KDKA.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-507-9701. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-507-9701. That's 800-507-9701. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
News, weather, traffic, and business every day. Hear it on News Radio KDKA.
Being diagnosed with leukemia, lymphoma, myeloma, or one of over 100 other types of blood cancer makes people want more time to do the things they love. That means more time to be artists, prom dates, world travelers, and moms. We are Blood Cancer United, the world's leading organization focused solely on blood cancer research, support, and advocacy. We do the most for more people with blood cancer, so people with blood cancer can do more of whatever they want. Blood Cancer United. Join us at bloodcancerunited.org.
100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA, covered by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 platinum roofing company. Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
KDKA and KDKA-FM HD2 Pittsburgh, W261AX Pittsburgh.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting. I'm Christopher Cruz in Washington. A new CBS News poll finds a majority of Americans are pessimistic about the economy. Here's CBS News Director of Elections and Surveys, Anthony Salvanto.
What do you think the president's policies are doing to the economy in the short term and the long term? In the short term, you get big numbers who say they're making the economy worse. So that's what's right in front of folks. But there also isn't that much more optimism about what happens for the long term.
A drone strike has caused a fire outside a nuclear power plant in the United Arab Emirates that provides 20% of that country's energy. The BBC's Maura Alderson.
Abu Dhabi says a fire has broken out at a nuclear power plant in the Al Dhafra region following a drone strike. The drone hit an electrical generator outside the inner perimeter of the Baraka nuclear power plant. The authorities say the safety of the facility is not affected, but there are no reported injuries.
Authorities say there was no radiological release. Will President Trump approve a potential $14 billion U.S. arms sale to Taiwan? He said he intends to use it as a negotiating chip with China, which claims Taiwan as its territory. On CBS's Face the Nation, Taiwan's ambassador to the U.S., Alexander Yu.
Actually, it makes
more sense for the United States to sell us the armor so we can defend ourselves. And so you don't have to send your army 9,500 miles away to defend us.
Louisiana Republican Senator Bill Cassidy has lost his primary race. He was hoping for a third term. He spoke to supporters last night.
Our country is not about one individual. It is about the welfare of all Americans, and it is about our Constitution.
It's been an awful mess getting into and out of New York City this weekend, and if a strike by employees of the Long Island Railroad lasts into tomorrow, it's going to be a nightmare. CBS News New York reporter John Diaz is at Penn Station.
While it has caused a mess for people heading to weekend events as we inch closer to Monday, well, concerns for weekday commuters, well, those are now growing. This is the busiest commuter rail system in North America. Roughly 250,000 people ride the system each weekday who could be forced to find alternative routes into New York City from Long Island suburbs.
Michael has moonwalked back into first place. Studio estimates say Michael is once again the most popular movie in North American theaters. It sold $26 million in tickets in its fourth weekend of release. Overall, it's raked in $704 million worldwide. This is CBS News.
I want to know what's going on in the world. I'm Tony. There are big questions that all of us are asking. I want to get you the answers. How are you? I'm Tony DeCopel. Join me on the CBS Evening News.
Chuck McDowell here with Red Pocket Mobile. How long have you been stuck with the same phone plan? 2 years? 5? 10? Are you tired of surprise fees and confusing bills? Switch to Red Pocket Mobile. With Red Pocket Mobile, premium 5G plans start at just $10 a month. Pick a plan, lock in your rate, and that's the number you'll see on your bill every month. No hidden fees and no long-term contracts. And here's the kicker. Red Pocket lets you choose from 3 major 5G networks, not just one. Pick the network that actually works where you live and where you work. Try one, and if you like it, keep it. If not, switch to another. Never be stuck with a single network again. Plus, keep your phone, keep your number. Red Pocket Mobile, your new ultimate cell carrier.
New customers can switch and save 50%. Choose from all 3 major 5G networks with one locked-in low price and no contracts at redpocket.com. Redpocket.com.
The biggest live televised music event in the world has crowned a new winner.
That infectious dance party anthem was enough to send both viewers and national juries swooning, giving Bulgaria and Dara the glittery crown at the 70th Eurovision Song Contest. Dara defeated 24 other competitors, including a flame-throwing Finnish duo and an acclaimed Australian star in Vienna Saturday. It's Bulgaria's first ever Eurovision win. 5 countries had pulled out of the event over Israel's participation and the conflict in Gaza. Heather Bosch, CBS News.
The world's largest aircraft carrier, the USS Gerald R. Ford, has returned to Naval Station Norfolk after an 11-month deployment, the longest since the Vietnam War. The Ford supported the war with Iran and the capture of Nicolas Maduro when he was Venezuela's president. Christopher Cruz, CBS News.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Warmer this afternoon with a mix of sun and clouds. A thunderstorm can't be ruled out. We'll have a high of 84. Partly cloudy, low 62 tonight. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
Now, again, I have the phone lines open, 866-391-1020. And one of the things that I put on you before we went to the news break was that going to China was not to just talk about what's going on in Iran. That was not to talk about that war. It was to try to end 2 or 3 different wars. Or at least, if you're not going to end them, certainly try to get an upper hand in them. Now look, we know there's a trade war. We know that there's a situation in Iran, and we know that the Chinese and the Russians are siding with Iran. Even if they're silent partners, they're still partners. Let's be clear about that. But here's the third thing. There are people that are losing confidence in America. And there's been rumblings for a while, ever since the Great Recession, no less, which is going on 20 years ago. Every now and then you'll hear it bubble up. Maybe the United States should not be the foundation of the global economy. Maybe the dollar shouldn't be the stabilizing currency. And if you really think about it, there's only two currencies that could even try to fill that gap. The euro. And the euro is not trying to do that. And the yen. And they are. The Chinese see this as their century. And if you think about it, going into their inclusion into the global economy going into the 21st century, they have been playing a lot of catch-up. Now, is there an argument to be made that, yes, a better global citizen out of Beijing would benefit the world? Yeah, I concur with that. But I think Gordon Chang had a point with this. And I'll welcome calls on anything, as you well know, but particularly on this in 866-391-1020. I don't think that it's beyond the pale to say that we are in opposition to each other. And on top of that, and I know there will be people that will call in and say, well, of course, because Donald Trump started this. Donald Trump did not start that. The corporate espionage did not start in 2017. It started long before that. The Chinese were flawed actors on the geoeconomic stage. I'll put it like that, flawed. For over 2 decades, they were flawed actors when it came to environmental rights. That's been going on for a while. And again, I'll put it in air quotes. I'll use the word flawed. I won't call them enemies. I won't demonize them, even though some of you might. They were certainly flawed. And before you say, so is the United States, look, there are degrees of being flawed, and I will be very direct with you. One of the reasons why we don't get as flawed as other countries is because we have a democracy. We have a democratic republic. We have a system that forces both the majority and the minority to at least talk to each other, even if they are bashing each other along the way. At the local level, even though locally, and I'll get into this later on, when you have a one-system party, you get the fights like you're having that's going to play out on Tuesday. I'll talk about that later. Statewide, you should have some negotiations. Ideally, you have good government that works and it is kind of split. Or you get stalemates like we have in Pennsylvania more often than not. Same at the federal level. But as much heartburn as those instances cause us internally, it is better than having an autocratic system that simply pushes things through in a way that does not take in consideration the rights of the majority and the minority, the rights of people that are worried about, can they breathe, literally, that worries about human rights. And you know all the memes and everything else about a lot of things that are manufactured and imported into the United States and the levels of human rights that are violated as a result of those things transpiring. Our form of government, as flawed as that is a lowercase f versus the uppercase F, double entendre there, that I'm using for China when it comes to human rights and being a good actor on the geoeconomic stage. So you have to deal with them that way, but you got to also understand who they are. And that's the case with any country you're dealing with. We're all human beings. I get that. We're all children of God, and I will never deny that. I know some people get into some things that I'm not getting into the xenophobia. That ain't me. I cast it off. Get behind thee, Satan. So there's that, but there's the flip side of it, which is we are in a battle with them from a geopolitical and geoeconomic perspective, or perspectives, I should say. So that should not be lost on us either. 866-391-1020. Joanne, happy Sunday. You're on KDKA.
The same to you. Anyway, I went to Barnes & Noble, and they pulled your picture up. You know, they don't have I thought they told me August the 8th.
Yeah.
So I will be getting that book. They said you had a previous published or non-published book, but they couldn't get it.
It was a couple of years. It was 20 years ago. So that's the reason.
Okay.
That's the reason why it was 20 years ago. But long and short of it, yes, a Venn diagram of one hits the bookshelves. The weekend of the 8th, it's supposed to officially hit the bookshelves on August 11th, Tuesday. So thank you for doing that.
Yes. Okay, to talk about this president, you know, he tried to pull the wool over, and he did most people's eyes. He knew that Nixon was the first and only president to go to China. So he claims he had a summit. He likes to put his name up in the lights. So now he's the second president. Should he have went over there? No, it was for his own gain. I mean, he took all those billionaires or the couple of AI people. What? I wonder what they got out of it, because if you looked, one of the news stations, they had showed all those robots putting out, I don't know if it was cars or electric cars, and you would have seen the robot spots working like crazy. So I wonder what in the world these billionaires got, except a trip in I don't know if they went in the plane he went in. What did they get? I mean, this president thought the Iranian people were stupid. He should know the Chinese people, these people are very smart people. We're looking like dummies, fools all over the world. He's just making it worse.
Well, part of it is this. You're right. He likes the bluster. I mean, he's the first American president in how long that spoke directly with the North Koreans. People forget about that. What came out of speaking to North Korea? I mean, Donald Trump and Dennis Rodman both spoke to the North Koreans.
Exactly.
Right? So, I mean, if you want to equate speaking and doing something that's avant-garde or you're the first sense, congratulations. But that's not the same as getting something tangible out of it, which is the reason why during my interview, I asked Gordon, I said, among other things, what about the economic debt that they own of ours? What's the ratio between our levels of innovators in education versus theirs? Where are we situated going forward for the next 5 to 10 years? And, Joanne, I also brought up, where are we when it comes to how this relationship will impact domestic job creation? Because the bottom line is everybody is looking at everything else. But if you look at, and I know I've gotten mocked about this online, but it is what it is. You look at the jobs that have been created over the last 18 months, it's woeful. And at a time where gas prices and cost of living has gone up, if you don't fix that soon, one, you lose the midterms if you're a Republican. Two, you have a recession. And I don't care what anybody says. Recessions are not depressions. But if you look at the Great Recession, it took us years to get out of it. If you look at what transpired around COVID, it took us years to just go get those jobs back. So there is a real issue when it comes to job creation with these emerging generations that needs to be addressed. And I would like to think and hope that that trip to China looked at that issue very directly as he dealt with the other geopolitical matters at hand.
Well, you know what? Time will tell. I doubt it. He just wanted to be the second president to speak to the Chinese people. And people, when he does all this stuff, people aren't like stupid. He's making the Americans look like really fools. But every time he does something.
But I think what's going on, Joanne, honestly, I think there are some people that have just allowed that to transpire. I think there are some people that are waiting out the clock, and I think there are some people that have been opposed to this since day one. But we have to admit, he has been on the national and international landscape as a politician going on 12 years now. So as a result of that, it's been roughly 11. It's going on 12 as we go into 2027. People have excused this in a way they wouldn't for other politicians. I mean, it's almost like Joe Biden. Remember when Joe Biden was vice president and he would say really flippant things and people would be like, oh, that's just Joe Biden. Things that they would excuse while Obama was president because they just kind of put Biden in a role that he's going to say and do certain things. Now, when it's the vice president, it's kind of cute. It's like a little puppy. When it's the president doing things, whether it was Biden as president or in this case Trump, these are things that move the needle in a way that destabilize markets, destabilize relationships, and ends up causing some type of consequence for everyday Americans.
You're absolutely right. My last point is I will be at the polls when they open up to vote. I will never not vote as long as I have a breath in me for everything that we went through and for no reason except for the color of our skin to vote. So I hope people go out there.
And Joanne, to that point, that's the reason why I am proud to be the MC of the Pittsburgh NAACP annual dinner, because there are certain things that are more fundamental than the politics. It's about the citizenship that the NAACP was fighting for years, and that is a citizenship for everybody. Now, of course, there are partisan fights with that, and sometimes the NAACP doesn't need, and I'm talking nationally, not necessarily here, dive into that, but the NAACP was founded to uphold citizenship for Americans, and
you're absolutely right.
To be a part of that, to be a part of that, I think is a great honor, and I'm looking forward to being the MC at that dinner. I'm sure that I'll have an opportunity to share a few remarks, and I think people will probably. Well, let's put it like this, Joanne. Some people might be surprised with the remarks that I will say. If anybody's heard me for more than 30 seconds on these airwaves over the years, or have seen me do anything nationally over the course of 20 years, they won't be surprised at anything I'm going to say on June 5th.
Well, you'll keep it in realm like it should be. There's sometimes you can say things, and you can make your point without really POing people. And I'm sure you're probably good at that. And you keep the good work up, Lenny, and I will be getting the book when it comes. And people, your president, again, has pulled the wool over your eyes. He just wanted to be the second president that went to China. Thank you, Lenny. Have a good day.
God bless you, Joanne. I do appreciate that. Thank you for going to Barnes & Noble already. Again, if you want to pre-order the book, go on barnesandnoble.com. You can pre-order the book. It will be at your house August 11th. If you want to pick it up at Barnes & Noble, you can do that starting August 11th. And I will throw this out there, Joanne and others. I can almost guarantee you we're going to have at least one book signing in Pittsburgh, probably a couple. I will give you a little bit of behind the curtain, behind the scenes type of looks before I go to commercial break. There might actually even be an event at the August Wilson Center. Just putting that out there where you get to hear some comments and get your book signed. Stay tuned for that. In the meanwhile, Ralph, George, coming to you after the break. Others, 866-391-1020. Going to the break because I'm mandated by law to go to break, but then I'm mandated by the clock to come back after the commercial break here on News Radio KDKA.
Your source for everything that's news. Hear it on News Radio KDKA.
This is Stories from the Pitch, brought to you by the first ever Infinity QX65 and by Lowe's. Give your yard its own moment with new limited time deals from Lowe's.
3 days before the match, Babetto's wife gave birth to their third child, a son named Mateus. 3 days later in Dallas, Brazil were tied with the Netherlands in a quarterfinal. Then Romario slipped a pass through. Babetto, racing onto it, slotted home. He turned, ran toward the corner flag, and started rocking his arms, cradling an invisible baby. baby. Romario joined in. Mazinho, too. 3 Brazilians, side by side, rocking the world's newest baby on the world's biggest stage. Brazil would win that match 3-2 and go on to lift the trophy. Beto's son grew up to become a footballer himself. The cradle has been copied 1,000 times since. None of them mean what the original meant.
Stay tuned to this Odyssey station for more Stories from the Pitch.
If you're in the Pittsburgh area and caring for a loved one with Medicaid, get paid starting today. Freedom Care has already helped over 162,000 families get the care they deserve, with 97% satisfaction and more than 8,000 five-star reviews. If you have Medicaid, you need to hear this. You may qualify to choose a caregiver you already trust, a family member or friend, and they can start getting paid. No agencies, no strangers, just someone you know, helping with meals, medication, bathing, mobility, and more. This service isn't for later, it's for right now. It's 100% free to you through Medicaid, and caregivers get paid right away after their shift. Find out if you qualify today. Call 412-801-7213. That's 412-801-7213. Don't wait. Call 412-801-7213 now. Again, 412-801-7213. Freedom Care. Get paid to care starting now.
Freedom Care. We're here for you.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Billy, your gas light's on. We need to stop and fill up.
No way, Jen. Gas around here is too expensive. We can make it a little further.
Billy, listen to your big sister. You don't need to drive all over searching for the lowest gas prices. Do what I do and use Upside.
Upside?
Do you live under a rock, Billy? Upside is the hottest cashback app out there. It's free to download, and you get real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. I use it all the time, and I've already made around $200.
You can make that kind of cash back just for buying the gas you have to buy anyway?
Yes, I'm looking at the Upside app now, and there's a gas station at the next exit offering 25 cents per gallon cash back.
Okay, I'm stopping to download Upside and fill up my tank. Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code BLING to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code BLING for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code BLING for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
You've probably heard all those ads for life insurance. Just a few dollars a day, apply online in minutes, no medical exam. Simple, easy, and cheap, right? Now you're thinking, maybe I should get a quote. Well, smart thinking. Everyone should have life insurance. But here's what they don't tell you. Those few dollars a day rates, they're for young people in perfect health. That's why everyone calls Big Lou the 50 to 60-year-old not-so-perfect candidate. Like you. You take prescription meds, and you're overweight. Winner, winner, fried chicken dinner. Well, Big Lou works with life insurance companies that want people like you, with no surprises after you apply. In fact, if you're a 50-year-old guy with a few health glitches, Lou could probably find you $1 million of term life coverage for about $200 a month. So, yeah, you need life insurance. But unless you're young and healthy, you gotta call Big Lou, because he's like you, older, heavier, and on meds, too. Get a quote right now at 800-777-1979, 800-777-1979, or biglou.com.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
All right, let me go back to the phone lines. 866-391-1020. Ralph, you might get a buy one, get one, depending on where you go with the conversation. But let's start by saying, kind sorry, you're on KDKA.
Yes, sir. So buy one, get one free. BOGO.
Yeah, it depends on how far. It depends on how deep you get with your comments. And I'm kind of helping you out because I'm running out the clock a little bit. So it'll allow you to give it'll give you a point, and then I'll say, I got to go to the news. Hey, Ralph, stay right there. And you'll be like, yes, I was able to cash in my buy one, get one coupon right now. See, I'm filibustering for you, Ralph, so I'm on your side.
I got you. Yep, I appreciate that. So from my vantage point, I think everybody's missing what Trump is doing. Trump wants the strait closed. This might have been a byproduct.
Why?
To choke the rest of the world out of Iranian oil. That's why. And there are other countries that sell it, and there's one that the United States is in control of at the moment. Venezuela that had, yep. So explain to me why else. I just want to know, why would he want China's getting 15-20% of their oil from Iran, and let me ask you this too: the United
Well, it's
States
higher than
goes
that.
over to
The percentage is higher than 15, 20% of the
Okay.
oil. Yes.
Yep.
Certainly.
So do you remember Trump said, well, okay, you guys go get the oil. There was at one point he said that, and then there was like zero response from it, and there probably wasn't going to be any response one way or the other. But I see it. China lacks some natural resources, and they're a target. It's not Russia. Russia is the richest country in the world with natural resources. But from my vantage point,
they're selling it to Western Europe, no less. The very people that are honked off at them because of Ukraine. Which, by the way, Ralph, was an issue that, and again, I know I brought up Reagan with Gordon Chang early in the 2 o'clock hour, but that's something that Reagan had a problem with his NATO allies in the 80s. He's like, how can you tell me about the Soviet Union and you keep buying their oil? Now, of course, the Western allies in Western Europe said, well, what about that American grain you're selling to the Soviet Union as well? I was like, well, hold on for a second. But to your point, it's very hard to really isolate Russia the same way that you can perhaps isolate China, to your point. Go ahead, then I'm going to have to go to news.
100%. Yes, sir.
So hang tight, because what I'm going to do is, and I have a follow-up question for you, Ralph. I want you to chew on this, then I'm going to go to break. I can buy that theory if he was inclined to alleviate some of the energy concerns in the United States by doing something different here with our energy reserves here, bring down the gas prices here, especially since job creation and other signs of the economy have been meager at best, where you can keep the American pain point down somewhat while choking off the rest of the world of Iranian oil. Think about that point. I'm coming back to you, then George, then Scott, then others. Hey, ladies, don't let the guys dominate the call board. Just saying. Joanne let it off, because, black girl power. But aside from that, I want more ladies to call in. 866-391-1020. I'm going to the news, and then buy one, get one free for Ralph on News Radio, KDKA.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce, spruce, spruce.
It's Spruce, the weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people, pets, and bees when used as directed. Spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Spruce, pet friendly, weed deadly. Find wherever weed killers are sold.
Hey, Mom, now that I have an after-school job, I think I want to buy a drum kit.
Okay, Rockstar. Let's look at your account. When kids start making money, Chase has easy-to-use tools and expert bankers to help them learn how to manage it.
And next month, I'll buy the bass drum and the cymbals. Oh, and maybe some noise-canceling headphones for you.
Aw, you've thought of everything. Help kids save, budget, and build financial independence, all with Chase. That's good for kids and good for parents. Visit your local Chase branch and get started.
Account subject to approval. J.P. Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
If you're struggling to hear conversations, TV, or the people you love, now there's an easier, more affordable solution without spending thousands. Audion Hearing makes high-quality, rechargeable hearing aids starting at just $98 with free shipping and dedicated one-on-one support in the comfort of your own home. No doctor's offices, no pressure. Clearer hearing delivered right to your door. Join over 1 million happy customers hearing life more clearly. Visit audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
The Pittsburgh Speaker Series at Heinz Hall, presented by University of Pittsburgh, announces its 26-27 season. 7 events to challenge your mind, enlarge your world, and make you laugh. With Anderson Cooper, former UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson, historian Anne Applebaum, financial journalist Andrew Ross Sorkin, and the former U.S. Ambassador to China, Nicholas Burns. The series is sponsored by News Radio KDKA and the Spanos Group of Raymond James. Tickets on sale now at pittsburghspeakers.org.
When you call yourself the voice of Pittsburgh, you have to know when to not talk. Sometimes you just need to be the ears of Pittsburgh. Just listen. Listen to what you have to say. These are complicated and uncertain times, but when you need us, we're here for you, and we're listening. A trusted source that you can count on to be here. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
CBS News Brief. A new CBS News poll has found a lot of Americans aren't happy. CBS's Jennifer DePinto.
Gas prices are weighing on Americans. 59% say they are at least difficult or financial hardship for them. And most don't feel they're getting a clear understanding as to what's happening in Iran or day to day in the Strait of Hormuz.
Louisiana Republican Senator Bill Cassidy has lost his primary race.
Our country is not about one individual. It is about the welfare of all Americans, and it is about our Constitution.
Long Island Railroad employees are on strike. Here's CBS's John Diaz.
For months, the Long Island Railroad Union and the MTA, well, they have been negotiating a new contract with talks stalled over workers' salaries and health care premiums. And with no deal, workers went on strike just after midnight Saturday.
CBS News Brief. I'm Christopher Cruz.
For all station contest rules, go to kdkaradio.com/rules.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Billy, your gas light's on. We need to stop and fill up.
No way, Jen. Gas around here is too expensive. We can make it a little further.
Billy, listen to your big sister. You don't need to drive all over searching for the lowest gas prices. Do what I do and use Upside.
Upside?
Do you live under a rock, Billy? Upside is the hottest cashback app out there. It's free to download, and you get real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. I use it all the time, and I've already made around $200.
You can make that kind of cash back just for buying the gas you have to buy anyway.
Yes, I'm looking at the Upside app now, and there's a gas station at the next exit offering 25 cents per gallon cash back.
Okay, I'm stopping to download Upside and fill up my tank. Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code BLING to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code BLING for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code BLING for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Tune in this Sunday morning at 8 for the Coons Cooking Hour with Rob Pratt and the Coons Market team when they discuss your favorite picnic foods for Memorial Day. It's the Coons Cooking Hour, presented by Coons Market, your hometown Pittsburgh grocer.
Miss Fernandez, what are those tiny things?
Those are what we call amoebas. You can only see them through a microscope.
Wow.
Today's students are tomorrow's great thinkers and innovators. But right now, there's a funding crisis in public schools. Millions of kids go to schools that don't have funding for books, computers, and so much more just because of where they live. You can help change that. Donors Choose is a nonprofit that lets you support students and teachers in your community and beyond. You choose which supplies to support. You could provide first graders with pencils and paper, or other students with their first chapter books, help a music class get a guitar.
You could even supply a classroom like mine with a science project. But what you're really giving is the moment that sparks a brighter tomorrow.
To learn more, please visit DonorsChoose.org. That's DonorsChoose.org. Choose students. Shape the future.
When it comes to family law, a lot has changed in recent years, so assumptions can be costly. If you see or sense a change coming in your family life that could have legal implications, it's important to know where you stand. Getting good legal advice early is never a bad idea. I'm Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. If you or anyone you know is facing a family law issue, start with a consultation. Visit CordellCordell.com.
Pittsburgh and Cranberry Township. Joseph Cordell. Licensed in Missouri and Illinois only.
New to Medicare, get covered with MediConnect. Listen Wednesdays around 1:40 to hear Lance O'Brien of MediConnect help you navigate the Medicare process. Simply great, unbiased information to get you the best healthcare coverage. Get covered with MediConnect. Medicare made simple.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
We'll have a mix of sun and clouds this afternoon with a warmer high of 84. We also can't rule out a thunderstorm, remaining warm with patchy clouds, low 62 for tonight. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
All right, let's get through that weekend, and I'll catch you on Monday. Lots going on Monday, and I'll talk to you then, 2 to 6. Colin Dunlap right here, KDK.
All right, before I go back to Ralph and the BOGO, he gets to cash in his buy one, get one coupon. Do want to say that I will be here for the Big K Morning Show with Larry Richert. 8 to 9 tomorrow, as I always am. Always enjoy spending time with him, so make sure you tune in to him. Big K Morning Show starting at 5:30 in the morning. I will be here at 8. Ralph, going back to you, what say you about the proposal I said, which was, why can't we use some of our energy reserves to lessen the burden on Americans while Trump is playing this geopolitical play, if that's the case, to squeeze out other countries, especially considering the job growth and the economic growth have not been what we want here domestically?
Yeah, so I did a little research on, the last time a major refinery was built in the United States was 1976.
Yeah, you've brought this up before, and we talked about that, and I talked about how that was a very interesting point. I recall you bringing that up.
No, that I did not, but
it was somebody brought it up to me previously. I thought it was you.
But yeah, so yeah, that's okay. Yeah, so Trump likes to inflict pain to make you respond. That's the only way people respond to things, by the way. Like your whole life, you need to get a pain point and then move back from it and move forward. So he's making you pay a little bit of pain now, and then to try to get something moving down the road. But at the end of the day, for me, if you go back to 1976, that's wild. That's like the time frame me and you were born.
Yeah.
If you're like in the 50-ish range, that's crazy. That they're not building refineries. And I also think it goes back to trying to think of the right way to say it. There are some environmental things here that are too harsh to get pushed by agendas that are elsewhere to try and save a fish.
Political. Look, and to your point, Ralph, the bottom line is, and people don't like talking like this, and I understand that people say you're demonizing people, and people may even say that it goes into xenophobia sometimes, but the truth of the matter is, everybody on the global stage is not the best actor on the global stage. Not everybody's a good global citizen. So you have to do geopolitics in a way that takes that into consideration, while at the same exact time trying to be environmentally sound, while at the same exact time trying to make sure you protect a certain quality of life for Americans, which is the best quality of life by and large in the world when you combine everything. I know there are people that'll say there are happier people in Denmark. Well, there are. I have a Danish cousin. The flip side is they don't have our military and the protection. They don't have our economy and the flexibility therein, and they don't have our universities and other cultural advantages. So yes, they're happy. They're more of a socialist society as well. But when you combine everything, we have a certain quality of life, and that needs to be protected against people that don't want us to necessarily have that. They'd rather their countrymen have it.
Okay, yeah. So I think the thing here is that there has been tenants in the United States that have made us really great, or being able to provide lives for all of us that you couldn't imagine anywhere. I mean, I could only imagine what happens in countries that are, third world or whatever. We live a really good life here.
Yeah.
But by and large, and I'm not saying Trump's right on anything. And sometimes, here's the other thing, too. I feel like, I know people think when you support some of the things the president does, and I don't care what president is, by the way, Biden, Jimmy Carter, Reagan, I don't want none of them to fail. I want them to succeed. But you're demonized at this point if you support something someone does. But I don't like that. But I get how people think different. But I just think, and let me tell you, he's trying to put the squeeze on everybody. I want to say this last thing, and I'll let you go.
Okay.
The United States brought all their tech leaders, Musk and whatever, over.
They did.
Yeah. When's the last time China brought their tech leaders here?
Well,
what China does is rip off and duplicate.
But to that Ralph, actually, and I'm going to let you go, but to that point, though, it kind of goes back to what Gordon Chang said, and I do appreciate your call, Ralph, and great job with the coupon. Maybe you don't want their tech leaders here because they are involved in corporate espionage, and they have been doing it for multiple decades now, and they are. And by the way, we forget about this too. over a decade and a half ago, one of the campaign issues when Mitt Romney and Barack Obama were running for the presidency was the currency manipulation. So if they're ripping off American ideas and not playing fair on the global stage from an economic and corporate standpoint, and they're manipulating their currency, how does the American worker, the American innovator, the American entrepreneur or corporation compete with that? So to your point, we took people over there. I don't know if we want people over here. Again, they're at the very least frenemies, at the very best, if you will. But good call. Appreciate the call. 866-391-1020. Going to Scott in Pittsburgh. You're on KDK.
Hey there. I'd like to say, contrary to what your previous caller said, that Trump went to China just because he wanted to be the second president to go there, that's factually incorrect. Trump went there to talk to them about Iran. And what he got was China to agree that Iran should not have nuclear weapons, and they agree that. But
that's not a new development. Nobody thinks that Iran should have nuclear weapons, including their friends, the Russians and the Chinese. And the reason why they don't is because it weakens their leverage over Iran when it comes to the Strait of Hormuz, when it comes to natural resources, i.e. oil and the like. So that's nothing new. What's the other thing you were going to say?
And I was going to say that they further made alliances in there. You know, you just don't go out and say one thing and then be done. So the other thing is, the other caller said he wants the Strait of Hormuz closed. Well, he got China to agree that the Strait of Hormuz should be open. And that caller should realize that if you close the Strait of Hormuz, it just doesn't stop the flow of oil from Iran. It stops the flow of oil for a lot of other countries. So there's a lot of people saying things that are not factually correct. That's all. That was my point.
Well, Scott, I appreciate your phone call. I think his point was, can you starve Iran and make sure that they have to capitulate to American terms to end the war while also harming China and others economically so that you can broker some deals over there as well? Just the same, the flip side of that is the Chinese are delighted that we're in this conflict with the Iranians because they're sitting there saying to themselves, well, the United States military is slowly depleting itself. They're obviously distracted. We could make gains in Taiwan, which is why that came up during this quote-unquote summit. We could make gains economically. We don't know what gains they've made from whether it's a military perspective or an economic perspective while we've been engaged with this, which is now going on 3 months, which again is why, you know, you break it, you buy it, as the late, great Colin Powell said. Because ask the Russians about how quick it would have been to beat the Ukrainians. People forget about that conflict, by the way. In 866-391-1020, I'm going to break. I'm going to get to these phone calls. People forget that the Russians had already implicated parts of eastern Ukraine before 2022 and had already annexed the Crimea 10 years almost. 2014, I believe the election was, or 2015, the election was. 2014, they had all the military action there before they went into the rest of Ukraine. They had a head start. And still, they're there 4 years later. That's the scary thing about what transpired starting in the end of February. So the Chinese are kind of happy about that, just as we're trying to choke them off with the strait being closed and how it's impacting everybody, including us. Obviously, politics is hard. Some people are better at it than others. And right now we're going to find out how good the Trump administration is based on this trip that they just completed a day or so ago. 866-391-1020. Going to news, going back to the phones. After the break on News Radio KDKA.
It's the little things. The information you need. People you know. The little things that make a big difference. The voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
We've got some marvelous May savings at Coons Market. Isn't that right, Frank Dentisi?
Right, Rob. In our meat department, whole pork tenderloins are $2.49 a pound. In the produce department, sweet California cherries, $1.99 a pound. In the deli, Coons deep-fried turkey breast is $9.99 a pound. And additional savings this week, selected varieties of Blue Bunny Bomb Pops, 12-count packages, 2 for $5.
Marvelous May savings, Coons Market, a Pittsburgh tradition.
Life is all about attitude and perspective. The old saying is the glass half full or half empty. Life will always throw curveballs, so how do we survive and actually thrive? This is Dr. Shufo from the Weight Loss and Wellness Center. Yes, I will get the weight off of you. That's a given. But I also find the root of the eating, and that's always emotional. It's actually weight loss therapy, and I know it works. People lose weight, feel better, and have lifelong tools. I want to help you. I really do. Call me 1-800-900-THIN.
Miss Fernandez, what are those tiny things?
Those are what we call amoebas. You can only see them through a microscope.
Wow.
Today's students are tomorrow's great thinkers and innovators. But right now, there's a funding crisis in public schools. Millions of kids go to schools that don't have funding for books, computers, and so much more just because of where they live. You can help change that. Donors Choose is a nonprofit that lets you support students and teachers in your community and beyond. You choose which supplies to support. You could provide first graders with pencils and paper, or other students with their first chapter books, help a music class get a guitar.
You could even supply a classroom like mine with a science project. But what you're really giving is the moment that sparks a brighter tomorrow.
To learn more, please visit DonorsChoose.org. That's DonorsChoose.org. Choose students. Shape the future.
While you sleep, there are people you've never met who are working hard to make your morning. People who get up at ungodly hours to make sure you get the information you want. People who dedicate their lives to make yours better while you sleep. These people come together during the Big K Morning Show with Larry Richert, 5:30 to 10 in the morning, to make sure you have the best news, traffic, and weather to start your day. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
Being diagnosed with leukemia, lymphoma, myeloma, or one of over 100 other types of blood cancer makes people want more time to do the things they love. That means more time to be artists, prom dates, world travelers, and moms. We are Blood Cancer United, the world's leading organization focused solely on blood cancer research, support, and advocacy. We do the most for more people with blood cancer, so people with blood cancer can do more of whatever they want. Blood Cancer United. Join us at bloodcancerunited.org.
At EasyCater, we believe every workday gets better with great food. Like that morning status meeting, always better with bagels. And don't forget the coffee. Ops team working late? How about some Power Bowls to keep them going strong? Sandy's celebrating 10 years at the company. This calls for cupcakes. With EasyCater, you get a huge variety of favorite restaurants with tools to help meet dietary needs and stay on budget, all on one platform. So make every workday better with EasyCater. Start an order at easycater.com.
In a world in need of a hero, one man rises to the challenge in style. He is...
just driving the kids to soccer practice.
Make every day feel epic in the all-new Hyundai Palisade Hybrid with up to an EPA-estimated 619 miles of range on select trims, advanced tech, and class-leading interior space. Visit HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603 for more details.
And hey, come on, no cleats on the seats.
You served behind the desk.
You served in combat.
You did 4 years and got out.
You were drafted.
You gave 20 years.
You gave exactly what your country needed.
And so did you.
When you raised your hand and swore an oath to your country, when you put your name on a dotted line, you became part of only 1% of Americans who did the same. You are a veteran.
You are a veteran.
You are a veteran. Because no matter when, where, or how you served, you made a sacrifice for your country, and you deserve support.
If you're struggling with life after service, don't wait. Reach out.
Reach out to a loved one, to a fellow veteran, to VA.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
SchultzFord.com. 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 SchultzFord.com.
All right, 866-391-1020. Jumping back the phone lines, George and Clareton. Happy Sunday, my man. You're on KDK.
It is. It is a nice day, and I'll tell you what, I'm glad I voted last week. I was beside myself, which I still am, but listening to Joanne, and that's when I tuned in. And I always think of those that fought and died, have gotten lynched, the hardships, peoples, and I say peoples in this country over the couple hundred years have went through to vote. I'm glad I did. I mailed it in yesterday about 11:30 in the morning. I was in the post office talking to the postman, and pretty much can't guarantee anything in life, but it should be there by election day.
Hold on. Before you go on, George, I got a bone to pick with you on this, buddy. I get paid to inspire you. I get paid to tell you why you should vote. And you listen to Joanne, who does it for free?
Oh, yeah.
I've been doing it all this time. I get paid every week to do this. And you're like, that Lenny guy, yap. He tells me to vote. Oh, foo magooey on him. But Joanne inspires me to go vote, and I mailed my vote in. You know how insulting that is? You have crushed my soul, my good man.
Well, I'm trying to. Well, you said the power of the black female in that.
How am I going to come back with that being married to who I'm married to? You all saw her on the air last week. How do I come back from that? How do I come back from that?
You were praising the accolades there, too. Now, you're surrounded by some good women now.
Yeah, I am.
I'm trying to think who I've known longer, Lenny. I remember you back around 2012, maybe 11, before you went to Chicago. And then Joanne, she's probably calling me, but I don't remember her until maybe COVID. COVID was a very strong point in my life. And I remember her a lot on the radio.
We will give Joanne the kudos, even though she stole my thunder on this one. As long as she gives it back next week when she calls back in, I won't report my thunder stolen and missing. How about that?
Well, most of all, at least those who don't want us voting can bask in the glow of us not voting because they make it so negative for us to do so, but we did.
George,
is on Tuesday.
That's the thing that people don't get. Go vote, go debate, have the issues, be engaged. This country, all seriousness, this country does not work if people don't learn the issues, learn the people that are impacting their issues, understand the consequences from one action to another, and then do something about it actively in an ongoing fashion, including voting. This country doesn't work.
I could feel that spirit, and it's cosmic to a lot of people. A lot of people are just so bland anymore, they don't even understand. But when I'm working through the day, and I drive some students to various places, I go through Wilkinsburg, where I was born. I go through Penn Avenue. I see, like, the signs for Homewood Avenue, and eventually Braddock and going up either way, Braddock down towards Kennywood or going up to Route 30. And I just think of the passion that went on there back when I was a young kid, like in the late 60s, especially when Martin Luther King was assassinated. And I could just feel that was the time. I mean, I remember James Brown singing songs like, get involved, get involved, get involved, get involved. And that was the passion, and that passion has been gone for so long, and that's partly where we are now, you know?
I agree with that. And look, the bottom line is, and I think that, it was easier. The challenge of right now, George, is this. This is a more nuanced time to get involved versus 60 years ago. 60, 70 years ago, it's very clear. There's Jim Crow. Some people can't drink out of this water fountain. Some people can. Some people can't go on this side of town without getting beat down or worse, and some people can. It was very clear to see that. Now the lines are murkier because it's very hard to say, people will call into here. As you well know, 866-391-1020, and they'll sit there and say, well, it's just like it was 60 years ago. No, it's not, because Barack Obama was president for 2 terms, and we have a president that's been shot at and shot, unlike what happened to 44. So stop it. The fact that 44 can become a U.S. senator against a former first lady and beat her along with other people in that race, including the former vice presidential nominee from 4 years ago. No, it's not the same as 1969. Please stop saying that. The flip side is when you look at the school system. Yeah, well, George, if you look at the school system, We're resegregating. If you look at Sundays in our churches, we're resegregating. If you look at our economy, particularly here in Pittsburgh and in Western Pennsylvania, we're resegregating. If you look at other economic factors, remember the report that came out about 5-6 years ago. This is the worst place for African American. Talk about Black Girl Magic. It's the worst place for African-American women in the country. You literally take your life and move to Cleveland, and you live, I think it was 3 to 5 years longer, and you make more money, and you're healthier with the same exact
we don't
lifestyle.
have that vast middle class.
Bingo.
You know, until we take a sociology class, most of us think we're middle class if we're kind of comfortable. And once you take one, there's upper, lower, working class, blue collar, below so and so. I mean, there's so many of the strata that we might call middle class. Pittsburgh isn't like that. A lot of big towns aren't like that, but Pittsburgh's definitely not one of them.
Exactly. George, I have to go to break. I didn't mean to cut you off because, you know, I love talking to you. But you're right. And again, it goes back to all of us have to be involved to rebuild that out. We have you talk about the ladder of success, and in Pittsburgh, in many, many regards, it's like a step stool. You're either on it or you're not. And in this economy, whether it's here or in other cities akin to us, in other regions akin to us, you have to build the ladder of success again, where people can climb it, find their way, be comfortable at a spot, and then go to the next level. Or if they want to move down it and say, I want to retire and spend more time with my family, I don't want to make as much money, but I want to be comfortable taking care of my family, you can do that too. But that takes involvement, that does take voting, that takes an educated electorate, one that's passionate about not just their families, but our communities. George, I always love talking to you. You know I love you. Apologize for having to go to break. I'm going to do that. Then I'm coming back to Duh Bishop and Duh Cynthia and Duh David and others at 866-391-1020 because that's what we do at Duh News Radio KDKA.
Here's the latest from the KDKA Community Message Board.
Coons Quality Foods now offers convenient curbside pickup and home delivery services. Visit coonsmarket.com to place your order and schedule pickup or delivery. Available now at all Coons locations. Coons Quality Foods, a Pittsburgh tradition. NASCO Roofing takes pride in exceeding customers' expectations. If the winter storms caused you damage, get NASCO on your roof and see why they've satisfied thousands of customers. Call 412-373-2000 for NASCO Roofing. Obsessed with pizza? So are they at Slice on Broadway. The 2025 winner of World's Best Cheese Pizza Slice is right here in the Burgh with 6 Pittsburgh locations, always serving delicious New York-style pizza, hoagies, and salads. Order yours today. Visit sliceonbroadway.com.
Details at KDKARadio.com.
The Pittsburgh Power and Fitness Festival returns May 16th and 17th at the DLCC. Witness elite bodybuilding, strength sports, and martial arts. Shop the massive expo and meet fitness celebrities. Get tickets now at hitspowerfit.com.
Mommy, how come I can't sit in the front seat?
Because I love you and you're just not ready yet.
Putting your kids in the right seat for their age and size is an act of love. Check that your kids are in the right seat at NHTSA.gov/the-right-seat. Love protects. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
KDKA and KDKA-FM HD2 Pittsburgh. W261AX Pittsburgh.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
Is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Christopher Cruz in Washington. A new CBS News poll finds most of those asked aren't happy with the state of the economy. CBS News Deputy Director of Elections and Surveys, Jennifer DePinto.
Big numbers of Americans are concerned and stressed about finances. Feelings of being secure and content about them are down from this time last year. Overall ratings of the economy have been low, but now just 29% call it good, a level we have not seen since 2023.
On CBS's Face the Nation today, U.S. Trade Representative Samantha Jameson Greer was asked if President Trump made any concessions in his trade talks with Chinese President Xi Jinping.
Less a question of concessions and more a question of what's mutually beneficial for both of us. That's why we're so focused on non-sensitive trade, because that doesn't require concessions. That's about working together, talking about what they need, what we want to sell, what we need from them.
Xi and Trump met in Beijing last week. With that summit over, there is uncertainty about a potential $14 billion U.S. arms sale to Taiwan. On CBS's Face the Nation, Taiwan's representative to the U.S., Alexander Yu.
We believe in peace through strength. So actually it makes more sense for the United States to sell us the armor so we can defend ourselves. And so you don't have to send your army 9,500 miles away to defend us.
Russian officials say Ukrainian drone strikes have killed at least 4 people, including 3 near Moscow. The BBC's Maura Alderson says Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky justified the strikes.
President Zelensky says Ukraine's mass overnight drone attack on 14 regions across Russia is entirely justified as a response to Moscow's prolongation of the war and its continuing attacks on Ukraine's cities. He said the attack on Moscow, including its main oil refinery, sent a clear message that the Russian state must end its war.
Police say a driver crashed into multiple cars and pedestrians in Oakland, California, shortly after 11 o'clock last night, killing 3 people. 2 of the 5 injured are in critical condition. Police haven't said what led to the crash, nor have they identified the driver who was injured in the crash. Acting U.S. Attorney General Todd Blanche says the investigation continues into what President Trump has long called the Russia collusion hoax.
Whether that's one conspiracy that continued from 2015, 2016, all the way up to 2023 is what we're looking at right now. But the way that we do that is with the grand jury process.
Yannick Sinner today became the first Italian man to win the Italian Open in 50 years. Our producer and copy editor for this shift today was Bob Costantini. Dave Shapiro did double duty as the assignment editor and desk associate. This is CBS News.
What is going on?
What's going on here? How is this possible? Great storytelling starts here.
Oh, come on.
Why? It's time for 60 Minutes.
Chuck McDowell here with Red Pocket Mobile. How long have you been stuck with the same phone plan? 2 years? 5? 10? Are you tired of surprise fees and confusing bills? Switch to Red Pocket Mobile. With Red Pocket Mobile, premium 5G plans start at just $10 a month. Pick a plan, lock in your rate, and that's the number you'll see on your bill every month. No hidden fees and no long-term contracts. And here's the kicker. Red Pocket lets you choose from 3 major 5G networks, not just one. Pick the network that actually works where you live and where you work. Try one, and if you like it, keep it. If not, switch to another. Never be stuck with a single network again. Plus, keep your phone, keep your number. Red Pocket Mobile, your new ultimate cell carrier.
New customers can switch and save 50%. Choose from all 3 major 5G networks with one locked-in low price and no contracts at redpocket.com. Redpocket.com.
Good news for fans of The White Lotus. Production on the 4th season is underway.
Welcome to The White Lotus.
From Maui to Sicily to Thailand and now to the French Riviera.
Sounds great.
Show producers say the Cannes Film Festival will be part of the new story. But this year's festival has been underway since last week with no sign of the production yet. One big difference this season, there will be 2 White Lotus resorts with hotels in Saint-Tropez and Cannes taking on the White Lotus identity, the lavishly luxurious setting for delicious dysfunction and sexy secrets, life and death.
At the end of the week, you will be an entirely different person.
But you'll have to wait to early 2027 for all that. Michael Toscano, CBS News.
Conor McGregor is returning to the octagon for a rematch with Max Holloway in the main event on July 11th in Las Vegas. The 37-year-old Irishman hasn't fought since breaking his leg in a cage fight in 2021. Christopher Cruz, CBS News.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Warmer this afternoon with a mix of sun and clouds. A thunderstorm can't be ruled out. We'll have a high of 84. Partly cloudy, low 62 tonight. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
Now, before I go back to the airwaves at 866-391-1020, I do want to say and remind everybody that there's an election on Tuesday, primary elections. I'm not going to dive into it very long. I'm going to get to the phone lines first. But I kind of got pulled into something that's happening at it's actually happening at two levels, which is a problem. It's happening at the county level with the county council president. But he's running for a state house seat, and the Democrats are going back and forth on it. I'll talk about that in a little bit, maybe. And the whole problem that it is for you, the voter, because you're getting thrown into a spat you don't need to be thrown into. I might get to that. I might not. The only reason why I'm bringing it up right now before I go back to the phone lines at 866-391-1020 is to remind people that there is an election on Tuesday. Again, when I went to Westinghouse High School, I said, how many elections are there? Every 2 years. And most of you all don't know this or don't remember this. You might say 2. No, there's 4. And they're at different times you have to pay attention because on even number of years, they may be on a certain day. They're always on a Tuesday, but a certain day of the month, i.e. second Tuesday, third Tuesday, etc., like this year. If there's a presidential primary, it might be earlier in the calendar versus later. There is an election Tuesday, everybody. If you're not registered to vote and you want to vote, I'm sure you can get a provisional ballot. Do that. And then make sure you're registered to vote. People died of, by the way, both genders and every race and creed in America fought for citizenship. There is not one that's excluded. And citizenship has its privileges, which includes voting. For those of you that are saying, but what about people that live here? Shouldn't they have the right to vote, but they're not legal citizens? No. I can't live in Canada for 3 years and vote for their prime minister. I can't go visit France for 6 months and get involved in their national elections. So, no. Citizenship has its privileges. Make sure you, regardless of what you look like as an American citizen, you practice that right to vote if you're living here in Allegheny County or Pennsylvania on Tuesday. 866-391-1020. Cynthia, in Florida, you can't vote in Pennsylvania, but you can still be on KDKA.
Yep. I will be voting in August here and again in November. It just reminded me of something. When I went to college in Alabama, my father would call me, and he knew all the people who were on the ballot. I don't know how he knew. I don't know if it was from the black newspapers. I don't know. He made sure I was registered and told me, okay, this person, this person, this person.
No, interesting. Not to age you, but what era was that? I'll put an era.
I'm 70. I'm 70 now. So I was in college in the late late 70s, early 80s.
Now think about this. Now part of the reason why for that I would theorize is because that was only about 10 years after the Voting Rights Act, 10 years after the crumbling of Jim Crow, and you were still getting the first black mayor, first black this, first black that. Yes. And therefore, black newspapers, which were stronger back then, people would talk. That's when we had for you kids out there was this thing called long distance phone calls where you had to pay to call people in other regions. But it was worth the phone call to be able to tell people, hey, brother so-and-so's on the ballot. Hey, remember that sister from church? Yeah, she's running for the school board here, and she would be the first ever. And so that mattered. And therefore, people used word of mouth to push those candidacies, to your point.
Well, I want to get to a couple little things that you brought up, but is Marcus Garvey a meeting with the KKK in your book?
No, but people don't know about that. People don't know about some of those things. I do talk, it's interesting. You talk about strange bedfellows, and I will put that in air quotes, but in the introduction of the book, and this is not to toot my own horn or beat my own chest, but you bring up that type of, that doesn't seem like that would jive, but it does. I talk about one of my very...
What's happening with Thomas Massey now?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
But I do talk about there are these weird, not weird, because they're not weird to me, but I mean, there's commonalities you have with people that come from different backgrounds. Like, for example, I quote the head of the Nation of Islam here in Pittsburgh, who's a friend of mine, and he was talking about, you know, who I am and how he views me, because we've known each other for years. And I tell people all the time, they go, well, how can you be a friend with somebody like that? I'm like, well, you know, there's certain things we know we're not going to talk about, we're not going to agree upon. I mean, he's a Muslim, I'm a Catholic. There's a certain fundamental religious belief that we're not going to agree upon. Let's start there. There are other things we're not going to agree upon, but it doesn't mean that there's certain other things like economic power for the disadvantaged that every American agrees upon.
That's absolutely true.
It's self-determination.
Yeah, but I thought my grandfather told me when I was 6 years old, and I will never forget this. Watch China. They're going to control the world. We gave away our economic or intellectual property to China, and now they've expanded upon it. During when Trump went over to
Can I touch upon that real quick, Cynthia, very quickly?
Yes.
Gordon Chang brought that up during the Hour 1 interview where he said, look, America's better than China at going from 0 to 1, but to your point, China's better at going from 1 to 10. Once the idea is created, they take the idea and they're able to replicate it and expand it. And it's ironic that you would say the very same thing that Gordon Chang said during Hour Number 1. Please go ahead.
I'll have to go back and listen to him. I missed the first part. But again, it's greed. The greed of these corporations have harmed us. But also, during when Trump went over to China, Iran is charging people to go through the Strait of Hormuz. I think there were like 5 or 6 Chinese ships that went through.
That have gone through.
Yeah, and you mentioned Crimea. Russia was invited into Crimea after Ukraine blocked the dam, and these people weren't getting any water for their needs, their crops, nothing. That happened.
Yeah, but at the same hold on, Cynthia. At the same exact time, there were Russian operatives that were showing up in eastern Ukraine before that, trying to get those provinces to break off from Ukraine before they went to the Crimea to do the same down there, which then led to the election where the Crimea said we want to be Russian again.
Here's something else. I will never forget this either. There was an article that I read years ago in the South China Post, and China said they will not repeat Russia's mistake on allowing people like Zelensky to live. If they do that, all of their leaders will be dead.
Say that again. I didn't catch the first part.
It was in the South China Post.
Okay.
China said they would not allow a leader like Zelensky to rise in Taiwan. They would kill them all. I will never forget that.
Well, and you know what? Here, let's just be honest. If this were the Soviet Union, that's what would have transpired. I mean, the Soviet Union tried to assassinate a pope. So if you're going to go after the Vatican, you will go after anybody else.
Go after the king. That's right.
You will definitely do that. So I would not. Yeah, I think that the Chinese are in a different position than the Russians are these days. So I can completely believe that that's a sentiment that they still probably hold in regards to Taiwan.
And lastly, looking at what we're doing to Cuba, and now what we're trying to do to Bolivia, we can't handle our own affairs. And there's this story in Axios, which I do not believe. They're saying, the Cubans have 300 drones and they're going to attack the United States. I want people to go back and look at Operation Northwoods, about the lies we told about Cuba then. But the people in Bolivia, Trump wants to overthrow Maduro, bring him out, just like, what's his name? No, I can't remember the guy from Venezuela.
But Maduro's the guy from Venezuela. You said Maduro.
Okay,
Maduro's from Venezuela.
Okay, the leader in Bolivia. Morales, Evo Morales. They want to capture him, and then we have a warrant out for the arrest of a 94-year-old Cuban.
And the whole point of that, Cynthia, is one can make the case that one can make the case that, well, they caused all this harm, they should be brought to justice. Okay, how many leaders can we say that over the course of current affairs right now? Yes.
Don't make me make a list.
But the flip side to that is when you are the commander-in-chief and you are, quote-unquote, leader of the free world, there's always supposed to be a calculus in regards to what's the benefit of doing this, what's the risk of doing this, what's the consequence of doing this, what's the expended resources of doing this, what's the expended political capital of doing this. These are all the considerations. Yes, so you're talking about Cuba, you're talking about Bolivia. How does that all play out? Now, we're watching in Iran how miscalculations have impacted America very, very directly with the quality of life, with the gas prices, et cetera. And people that will say, well, we don't want them to have a nuclear weapon. I thought it was very ironic. Hold on. I thought it was very ironic that President Obama came out and said, interesting. I kind of stopped them from doing that, too, without dropping a missile, without killing anybody, and without gas prices shooting through the roof.
And we shielded the Ayatollah Khomeini, who issued a fatwa that they were not to develop nuclear weapons for war or biological weapons. We always need an enemy. And then closing on China and Russia, though, we'll probably disagree on this. These people are going around the world with butter. We're going around the world with bombs. Who's going to prevail here?
No, Cynthia, we're probably not going to disagree. Because you have probably heard me say this, whether it's on the Big K Morning Show with Larry on Mondays or on this show here. I've said one major issue with the United States of America under current presidential leadership is this administration relies too much on hard power and undervalues soft power. You have to have diplomacy and the strength. And sometimes the strength is economic power. It's the fact that you can pull economic levers that is both hard power and soft power. It is hard power in the sense that people feel real pain, but you're not dropping a bomb. You're not launching missiles. You're not launching drones. And this administration, to your point, is all about the bombs. They're not about the butter. People forget USAID got the funding got added over a year ago. The types of things that we talk about in regards to being able to influence things for the better good around the world, we stopped doing economically because we'd much rather saber rattle. That's not going to work in modern day global warfare.
It is not. And we've lost allies. And if you look at BRICS, all of these, we've lost allies. And you talked about the Russians. You know, Europeans are buying more LNG from Russia than us.
Bingo.
Man. Thank you, brother.
You have a wonderful, wonderful day, Cynthia. You enjoy the rest of your Sunday down there. Folks, 866-391-1020. Bishop, David, others, you know the number. You know the station. You know it's me. You know I love you. And I'll be here after the break on the one and only News Radio, KDKA.
When you need to talk, we're here for you. Always have been. News Radio KDKA.
Hi, this is Les Botkin of Botkin Family Wealth Management. I've been lucky in my life, and I'm grateful to the clients who've helped make our family-owned business a success. But like most of us, my beginnings were far from glamorous. My first job out of college was as an assistant golf pro at Butler Country Club, earning $2.10 an hour. There was no work for me in golf in the winter, so to survive, I took a job at Armco Steel, working on a labor gang. Some nights I did janitorial work. Others, I labored in the rolling pits. I'd come home covered in soot to the tiny apartment my wife Barb and I shared with our newborn daughter Sarah. Now, 40 years later, Sarah and I are business partners at Botkin Family Wealth Management, along with my son Lester. I like to remember my beginnings and to share those stories with my children and grandchildren. At Botkin Family Wealth Management, we're interested in hearing your story, because understanding your beginnings is an important part of appreciating what it took to get where you are today. Visit us at botkinfamilywealth.com.
Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Billy, your gas light's on. We need to stop and fill up.
No way, Jen. Gas around here is too expensive. We can make it a little further.
Billy, listen to your big sister. You don't need to drive all over searching for the lowest gas prices. Do what I do and use Upside.
Upside?
Do you live under a rock, Billy? Upside is the hottest cashback app out there. It's free to download, and you get real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. I use it all the time, and I've already made made around $200.
You can make that kind of cash back just for buying the gas you have to buy anyway?
Yes, I'm looking at the Upside app now, and there's a gas station at the next exit offering 25 cents per gallon cash back.
Okay, I'm stopping to download Upside and fill up my tank. Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code BLING to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code BLING for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code BLING for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
When sinusitis has your nose constantly blocked, life can feel smaller. You're stuck breathing through your mouth, which leads to sleep struggles, snoring that keeps your whole family up, fatigue, and more. The mornings start groggy, the days drag on, and it feels like nothing really helps for long. At Pittsburgh Sinus Centers, relief isn't just one size fits all. Their specialists use a wide range of innovative in-office treatments designed around you, designed to open your sinuses, restore natural breathing, and help you finally sleep through the night. You don't have to keep pushing through. If you're tired of the congestion, the pressure, and the endless cycle of sprays and pills that aren't providing relief, discover a treatment option that works for you at Pittsburgh Sinus Centers. Breathe easier, sleep better, and start feeling like yourself again. Schedule a consultation today. Call Pittsburgh Sinus Centers, 878-231-6036. 878-231-6036. That's 878-231-6036.
Carpal tunnel syndrome, heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
All right, let me go to the phone lines. David, you're on KDK.
Oh, thanks, Mike. Yeah, there have been a bunch of good calls today. I'm interested in how the corporate state has gotten introduced into America. And I'll start by describing something over 100 years ago. My grandpa was a state legislator in Missouri, in St. Louis. And he was a small business Republican that was fighting the big business Republicans. He was fighting the Rockefellers of the day.
He was a Teddy Roosevelt Republican who was doing the same thing. For those
my grandpa was 1902, so right
Roosevelt.
era.
Yes.
And so, along comes the issue of crushing small business as a policy. The Republican Party, once it got taken over by the big business, they started crushing small business, but using tax dollars to do it. And you know who King Leopold was, right?
I do.
Yeah, Heart of Darkness was the movie, or was the book about him. Apocalypse Now is the movie that was a takeoff on the same thing, where the corporation goes into a section of Africa, starts chopping off hands. It's the company store. You don't make money for the company, bam, you're dead. And so my grandpa was fighting that, and the rise of King Leopold. And when you start looking at the problem today, where we've got Trump, who is clearly conquering lands for the benefit of corporations and doing his best to crush the small businesses. So I'm at the point where I think if America was smart, they would take away the business license or the nonprofit status of the Republican Party, because they cannot be seen as doing good for America they're doing good for their buddies.
Well,
and
hold on. Here's the thing with that. If you take away the and I'm going to go with your premise. Take away the nonprofit license for the Republican Party. I have to imagine you're talking about federally. If that's the case, you're not just impacting the White House with a term limited president. You're talking about individuals that some of which didn't. I mean, let's just be fair. Didn't operate like this until he won the presidency. That one could make the case that once he's no longer the president, may try to revert back to how they used to operate. Now, that would be up to the voters. That would be up to the Republican Party. But there's definitely an argument to be made that they would act differently. And if that's the case, and you gave that much of an advantage to one party, the Democrats, over another party, the Republicans, by doing that, how much are you putting your thumbs on the scale of American politics from an administrative perspective that would skew the overall politics at all three levels of government moving forward? I think that's a bridge too far because of the unintended consequences of doing something like that.
Well, of course, I disagree. You're saying that because they've so entrenched their way into the three forms of government that America can't save its life, so I guess we're just going to be stuck with it.
No, what I said, well, no. Hold on. And I'm going to actually hold you past the break because I don't want you to think I'm trying to cut you short, Bishop. I'll get to you after the break as well. Chew on this, David, then I'm going to come back to you right after the news. What I'm saying is America has been a two-party system since the early 1800s, literally the turn of the century. George Washington warned against it. If you put your thumb on the scale in a two-party system, I don't know, like it is in many, many of the gerrymandered districts around the country, you have it here in Allegheny County, you have it in Philadelphia County, it's not so much in Erie County. But many places, it's a one-party system at the local level, and then people still complain about the dysfunction at the local level. Why? Because government's still not responsive. The only way to do that, we say this economically, we say this with education, we say this politically, is to have robust and genuine competition. If you eliminate that by putting your thumb on the scale and not giving, whether it's Republicans or Democrats, the opportunity to reinvent themselves on an ongoing basis, then you are cementing into place both what you have now, which includes some of the best, but also some of the flaws. So respond to that after the news. Then I go to Bishop. Others, 866-391-1020. I see some phone lines lighting up a little bit. Let's see if it'll light up a little bit more after the news from CBS News here on News Radio KDKA.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You've probably heard all those ads for life insurance. Just a few dollars a day, apply online in minutes, no medical exam. Simple, easy, and cheap, right? Now you're thinking, maybe I should get a quote. Well, smart thinking. Everyone should have life insurance. But here's what they don't tell you. Those few dollars a day rates, they're for young people in perfect health. That's why everyone calls Big Lou the 50 to 60-year-old not-so-perfect candidate. Like you. You take prescription meds, and you're overweight. Winner, winner, fried chicken dinner. Well, Big Lou works with life insurance companies that want people like you, with no surprises after you apply. In fact, if you're a 50-year-old guy with a few health glitches, Lou could probably find you $1 million of term life coverage for about $200 a month. So, yeah, you need life insurance. But unless you're young and healthy, you gotta call Big Lou, because he's like you, older, heavier, and on meds, too. Get a quote right now at 800-777-1979. 800-777-1979 or biglou.com.
Colin Dunlap on KDKA.
In 2026, I'd like to know exactly how cursive handwriting is a fundamental skill. Is there a study? Is there data? Is there something that supports such a claim? You don't live in 2026 if you keep rattling on about this cursive situation. I e-sign probably 95% of the things that I need to sign.
Weekdays 2 to 6 on the Voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
Mommy, how come I can't sit in the front seat?
Because I love you and you're just not ready yet.
Putting your kids in the right seat for their age and size is an act of love. Check that your kids are in the right seat at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Love protects. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
From the Aetna Medicare studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
CBS News Brief. It's the economy. A CBS poll finds Americans are concerned about that and the Iran war. CBS's Anthony Salvanto tells Face the Nation.
The situation in Iran in the Strait of Hormuz, people tell us day to day they don't feel like they have a clear understanding. They're getting a clear understanding of what's going on there. And of course, that is impacting gas prices.
Former Defense Secretary Robert Gates is urging diplomacy as the U.S. looks to end Iran's nuclear program, telling CBS.
The only way that we are likely to get the enriched uranium out of Iran and bring about an end to their nuclear aspirations is through a negotiation.
A plea from New York Governor Kathy Hochul a day after union workers at the Long Island Railroad went on strike.
I'm urging all parties once again to bargain at the table and to get a deal done.
More than 250,000 commuters affected. CBS News Brief, I'm Heather Bosch.
When it comes to family law, a lot has changed in recent years, so assumptions can be costly. If you see or sense a change coming in your family life that could have legal implications, it's important to know where you stand. Getting good legal advice early is never a bad idea. I'm Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. If you or anyone you know is facing a family law issue, start with a consultation. Visit CordellCordell.com.
Pittsburgh and Cranberry Township. Joseph Cordell. Licensed in Missouri and Illinois only.
Mommy, how come I can't sit in the front seat?
Because I love you and you're just not ready yet.
Putting your kids in the right seat for their age and size is an act of love. Check that your kids are in the right seat at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Love protects. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Now that I'm retired, I'm worried about making ends meet. Food, medicine, and rent cost more every day. And that's why I used benefitscheckup.org. It connected me to an extra $1,000 a month. Benefitscheckup.org is a free service from the National Council on Aging. In a few clicks, older adults like me can see if they might qualify for money-saving programs. If you're on a fixed income, benefitscheckup.org might help you too. For free. Visit today.
Supported by the U.S. Administration for Community Living.
Tune in this Sunday morning at 8 for the Coons Cooking Hour with Rob Pratt and the Coons Market Team when they discuss your favorite picnic foods for Memorial Day. It's the Coons Cooking Hour, presented by Coons Market, your hometown Pittsburgh grocer.
For women with postmenopausal osteoporosis at high risk for fracture, there's more you can do to strengthen your bones with Evenity. This is the sound of 4 women who think they're doing everything they can. A high fracture risk will cause 3 of them to break a bone in their lifetime. With Evenity, they could be rapidly building new bone in just 12 months. 2 think they already are building bone. And for 1, the game is about to change. To make an appointment, press 2. Because she's calling her doctor about Evenity. Evenity can increase the risk of heart attack, stroke, or death from a heart problem. Tell your doctor if you have had a heart attack or stroke. Do not take Evenity if you have low blood calcium or are allergic to it. A serious events have occurred with Evenity. Signs include rash, hives, swelling of the face or throat, which may cause difficulty in swallowing or breathing, muscle spasms or cramps, numbness or tingling. Tell your doctor about severe jawbone problems as they have been reported with Evenity. Report hip, groin, or thigh pain. Unusual thigh bone fractures have occurred with Evenity. Learn more about building new bone at Evenity.com.
When you get a diagnosis of Parkinson's disease, things get real.
And nobody understands that better than the Parkinson's Foundation. All across the country, we provide resources and support in the fight against Parkinson's, a neurological disease that affects movement.
The Parkinson's Foundation is dedicated to improving care and advancing research towards a cure.
And when you call our helpline, you'll speak to a real person who can help you find the right information. Because while living with Parkinson's can be challenging, there are things you can do to improve your quality of life. So, whether you're newly diagnosed, have been living with Parkinson's for years, or caring for a loved one,
when Parkinson's gets real. Find real answers at the Parkinson's Foundation.
Go to parkinson.org or call our helpline at 1-800-4PD-INFO, 1-800-473-4636. The Parkinson's Foundation. Better lives together.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Patchy clouds tonight, low 62. Sunny and quite warm tomorrow, high 90. Partly cloudy tomorrow night, low 69. Perhaps an afternoon thunderstorm on Tuesday, high 88. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Scott Erickson at 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
Hi, this is Larry Richard. Join us Monday in the Big K Morning Show, 5:30 until 10. Another big thing coming to Pittsburgh. We'll tell you about it first thing Monday.
And like I said, before I go back to David and I go to Bishop and I go to others at 866-391-1020, I will be here with Larry as I am on Monday mornings, 8 a.m. Maybe not sharp. Maybe sharp. Maybe early, for all you know. Either way, I will be here. Big K Morning Show, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. with Larry Richard on the Marconi award-winning news radio, KDKA. David, I'm going back to you before I let you go, kind sir. Please continue.
Where I'd left off talking about the depreciation of America, that, Donald Trump has basically ruined the bond market. People don't want to invest in America right now because they see that it's being run by a bunch of thugs. And are they going to get their return on investment if they drop their money on Trump? If he's been busted time after time, he's got 34 fraud.
Yeah, I get that. But, again, let's talk about America for just a second. Do I feel like it's ruined to the point where people will stop investing in America? No, not quite. But, part of it, too, is, we're coming off of COVID with the Biden administration. We had strong numbers. Now, the job numbers are not strong. We do understand that, obviously, now this is Trump's economy, Trump's administration, and Trump's economic policies that are causing some turbulence. And on top of that, from a geopolitical perspective, he has been weakening some of our alliances and giving people that are not our friends, giving them some assurances that they can take further steps. I agree with that point. But I will say this, David, before I give it back to you and let you go. This is not the first time that this has transpired and America has bounced back, including to your point in regards to when TR was president, which is over 100 years ago, where they had to break up the big organizations because, let's be clear, back when McKinley was president and they stuck TR at the VP slot, you did have big businesses running it. Then it was an ebb and flow cycle. You did have the crash in 1929, and America still found a way to come back. So it's not like it's quote-unquote completely, well, you didn't say completely ruined, but it's not ruined. It is definitely destabilized, though. I will give you that.
Well, I always look at the option of if Donald Trump is going to ruin the U.S. dollar. The U.S. dollar is supposed to be the reputation of all of us. And if Donald Trump is going to strut around and act like an insane dictator, not only a stupid dictator, but an insane dictator, then the value of America has obviously been depreciated. And when you're saying that, America has been survived it once before, well, China is not investing in U.S. bonds. They're now threatening to withdraw, to cash in their U.S. bonds. Trump has screwed China.
And we literally had in Gordon Chang, and I appreciate your call, David. Gordon Chang came on here during hour one because I asked that question. I literally said, from a Tea Party perspective, from a national debt perspective, what say you in regards to how much the Chinese own our debt? And he actually said that the amount that the Chinese owns of our debt has been going down over the last 5 years. And on top of that, there are other geoeconomic forces that disincentivize the Chinese from cashing in our debt, because the other countries involved with that would have unintended consequences, including the Chinese. So we're kind of all interdependent to stop that from just being a threat that's completely over our heads, that's going to happen possibly over the next 72 hours or month or 2 months or whatever. So I actually did ask that question. If you missed it, any of you all that missed the interview I had with Gordon Chang, Check it out, the second half of hour number 1. I specifically asked that question towards the tail end of the interview. But everybody, including David, I always appreciate your phone calls. 866-391-1020. Bishop and Denora, you're on KDK.
I've been waiting.
I know.
Listen, I got a question. Well, first of all, I can see where this country has no regards for, and I know you probably take an exception to it, black folks in this country. I see this thing here. What is it?
I think this country does have a regard for black folks in this country. I do think that there are certain. Hold on, I'm going to answer because I know you're going there. I do think that there are certain people that are in place that are oblivious to equal and civil rights for everybody in this country because they're so focused on themselves, and they've been very selfish in regards to trying to chase their own victories and their own success, and not the level of quote-unquote patriotism that they say that they have. So I'm not going to say that it's everybody in this country. I meet too many good people. You said this country, and that includes everybody. So I just want to make sure. Hold on, Bishop. I'm going to give it back to you. I just want to make sure that I let you know that you're right. I emphatically disagree with you because I meet too many people from here in Pittsburgh to across the country that don't meet what the minority of the minority are doing and what some in the majority are condoning.
Look what they're doing here. This rededication on the Washington, this plaza. You don't see another black. I didn't see them. I didn't see them invite you.
First of all, if you're talking about something, I wouldn't be going to that because I'm not going to sit there. Look, I'm on the record for this for over 11 years now. I'm not going to be on the record with some of the stuff that's going on with this administration because the moment they would invite me, Brother Bishop, and they asked me how I felt about what they're doing with DEI, they would be putting me back on they wouldn't even put me on a plane. They'd put me on a Greyhound. First one smoking. They might not even put me on Megabus.
Maybe they would. And I didn't see them. When he went over to China, not a one black business person, period. And that just tells me, it should tell people blacks. This is where we at. I don't agree with the ones down there protesting because I think that they're doing it wrong down in the South. No, y'all behind should have did something a long time ago. You should have covered your flanks. You didn't do it. What you need to do is you're protesting. You need to go in those back streets. See, I've been down in the Selma. I've been down in the Montgomery. I've been down in some of the other parts of the South, and it's like you guys are still back in time. You need to go in there and work with those people to get their behinds out and vote.
They're not back in time. I mean, let me throw the little caveat out there that I used to live in the South for over 10 years, and I've traveled those same exact towns in Alabama, in Georgia, both in the major cities but also in rural areas. And in many regards, they're more sophisticated politically than we are here in Western Pennsylvania, so let's not get it twisted. And they've had, in regards to representation, in many, many regards, more success. So, again, let's not get it twisted. So I think they have. We can look at the numbers, if you like, in regards to representation of minorities and others. And economic advancement in certain cities, including Atlanta, Charlotte, Raleigh.
We ain't talking about them. We're talking about the Selmas. I've been down there in the last 5 years a few times. And I took my cousin down there from Kentucky.
I've been down there as well.
And she said, good Lord. And I watched how some of the people, whites, talk. And I said, oh, Lord, have mercy. And poverty still abounds tremendously in these places where they have these big rallies. And I'm saying, have they done anything to try to improve down here? But what I'm saying to you is, listen, I'm going to be one of the ones on the forefront. I'm not going to allow, if all I can do is get people out to vote, to go back to the 1960s. Now, I was a kid, and maybe I saw some of it, and a lot of it I missed because I was a kid, because I was born in West Virginia, but Charleston, But it's something how this country wants to go back to Jim Crowism. Now, let me get to this other point here.
I don't know if the country, again, I push back on that. I think there are some legislators that are going to try to redraw the maps, and I think there are some legislators that are absolutely positively rolling things back in the wrong direction. I don't think the country wants to go there. I think the country, generally speaking, is full of two sets of people. They're either full of people that don't want to go back there, and then there's full of a set of people that condone this, that, again, I hate to say this facetiously, but they voted a certain way because of the price of eggs in 2024, and now those are the people that you're hearing saying, I didn't vote for this. I didn't vote for the Venezuelan president to be snatched up in the middle of the night. I didn't vote for the Iranian war and gas prices to go through the roof. I didn't vote for all these tariffs. I didn't vote for the rollback of DEI. I didn't vote for all this division. They are now saying that, but they should have not. They should have seen the signs years ago, because it's not like they were hidden.
Well, no, it's not. But I beg your pardon on that, and I agree with you on some points with that. But when you have people that will side to say, "Well, I didn't vote for that, but I would still vote for him," you're not a friend of mine. You're still trying to put me back. Now let me ask you this.
Let me say this. I can see why you would say that, because it's like, okay, you have to explain to me now that you've seen this, why you would do this. And there's some people that make it a binary choice and say, well, I couldn't vote for it. And it's like, okay, but I'd rather have a democracy and then try to fix it with the person I don't want to be in there than see rights erode that I have to take years to rebuild. So I understand why you would say that. I also know that there would be some people that would do exactly what you say. Continue on before I have to go to break.
Well, this is in your warehouse. I want to know. Now, I've had a relationship with Bar-a-Lot, and I think, and we still got a little test to go. What is the other candidate in primary her? Is he a MAGA? Now he's accused. Now they're accusing. He looks like a MAGA. He talks like a MAGA. But then
they're accusing her. They're accusing her of not standing with Trump when she needed to stand with Trump. One of the negative ads they are actually running is the fact that she did not stand with Trump on closing her, and thus would then be the MAGA candidate. Yes.
Yeah, but she runs an ad and says that she has promoted and stands as America First and stand with Trump on many occasions. Now, what is it? Is it true with her, and I'll close with this, or is he? I want your honest opinion. You're a Republican. Is he a MAGA?
I think, and I appreciate your call, Bishop, I would say that he is trying to run to the right of her. And two things are going on. Number one, if you look at some of her attack ads on him, she's trying to accuse him of being somebody that's been cozy with Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. I just saw one during commercial break. During this show, as a matter of fact. So they're both trying to tell everybody, I'm more with Donald Trump than my opponent is. I will probably say, I will admit that both of them, I am certain, have articulated views that reflect that's not an inaccurate statement. I will probably also say that there were instances where the current state senator probably did things that did not make the furthest right of the base very happy. That's the reason why you end up having primaries. You can't please the furthest one side or the other of a base. Ergo, you end up having somebody run to your more, further flank to try to see if they can push you out. So I think that they're both trying to show you that they're MAGA enough, but independent enough. And both candidates are now running negative ads that show that either they're A, not MAGA enough, and likely too liberal for the district, which is why people, in many regards, can't stand politics, because that's all this is. Now, and again, it's funny because you got that going on in Washington County between Republicans, and then you got this craziness with Allegheny County Council with two Democrats fighting amongst themselves. It's really two factions of the Democrats trying to pick who they want to be in the state house and pulling the Allegheny County Council into the mix over it. And whether it's down in Washington County with the elephants or Allegheny County with the donkeys, this is why people can't stand the circus that is politics. 866-391-1020. Anthony and Oakland, I come back to you after the break here on News Radio KDKA.
Every Tuesday morning at 7:20, listen for Inside Independence Health, a look at all things healthcare with the experts from Independence Health System. It's brought to you by Independence Health System.
Roof during Home Genius Exteriors Memorial Day roofing sale. Get 50% off all roofing materials, then take an extra $500 off, plus 0% APR and no payments till 2027. Call now to schedule your free, no-obligation roof and attic inspection. Save big with our best offer of the year. Call Home Genius Exteriors today at 855-U-R-GENIUS. That's 855, the letter U, the letter R, Genius. See website for details.
Pittsburgh, we've got a problem. Home care is in crisis and there aren't enough caregivers to meet the demand. So if you've got a loved one with Medicaid and needs care, don't wait. Freedom Care was built for this moment. We help you get care at home from someone you already trust, a family member or friend who can get paid to help with everyday needs like meals, medication, bathing, and mobility. If you have Medicaid, it's 100% free to you. No waiting lists, just real care from your people right now. Freedom Care handles it all, training, payroll, and support, so you can stay safe and comfortable at home, and your caregiver gets paid after every shift guaranteed. With 97% satisfaction and over 150 million hours of care delivered, Pittsburgh families are already making the switch to care at home. Take care of your own and get paid with Freedom Care. Call 412-844-5990. That's 412-844-5990. Call now, 412-844-5990. 412-844-5990.
Freedom Care, we're here for you.
Attention, have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-358-6868. That's 800-358-6868. Again, 800-358-6868.
SchultzFord.com. 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 SchultzFord.com.
All right, going back to the phone lines. 866-391-1020. 866-391-1020. Anthony, I'm going to try my best to give you a BOGO because you're up against the break and I don't want to just cut you off. So let's start, and then I'll go to you afterwards. You're on KDKA.
County on these talk show airs when the Allegheny County was proposing paid sick leave and now paid maternity leave, that they should be in court immediately in Allegheny County Court because they don't have the constitutional ability to do that. They can't force private corporations to give them union perks. But, living in Allegheny County, these people are so stupid. And now here they come for another bite of the apple because there was only 25 employees and more. Now it's under 25 employees. They want to enact this nonsense that's unconstitutional. Now, I hope they're listening to this show, the Chamber of Commerce for Business, and go to common plea court to stop the nonsense.
Well, I think first things first, what's going to end up happening is someone's going to come out with a financial analysis. And what they're going to say, Anthony, is not only will this cost let's say that, because it's going to be multiple steps. It's going to be if the county does this on their own, which they can do, they can say, we're going to do this to show what employers should do in Allegheny County. Somebody's going to say this is going to cost the county X amount of dollars at a time where both the city and the county are saying, we ain't got enough money, yo. And so what's going to end up happening is that's going to be problematic first and foremost. Second of all, somebody's going to then do an analysis, and this is something that I don't know the exact numbers on yet, but it's not this far of a stretch with either one of these things. People will look and they will then end up saying, and by the way, should you do this, you're going to chase X amount of dollars out of Allegheny County over the course of the next 3 to 5 years. Now, you don't have to chase them that far. You can chase them to Washington County. You can chase them to Butler County. You can chase them to Westmoreland County. And people will then do two things, Anthony. Number one, the jobs will leave, which means number two, people will sit there and say, why am I living in Plum when I can move 15 minutes away into Westmoreland County, and I can work in Westmoreland County, and I can live in Westmoreland County, and it will be cheaper? Why am I trying to live in the city of Pittsburgh when I can just slide over the border, go to Butler County, and I can have more land for less money and the same job? What's going to end up transpiring when it comes to this policy is they're going to see how much it will cost the county if they try to do it on their own, how much it's going to cost in jobs, and then from there, how much it's going to cost when it comes to residents leaving. The problem with local government is this. They do not think, one, like entrepreneurs, and two, this about, and I'm going to put you on hold and come back to you after the break. Don't go anywhere. In fact, I hit you by accident. Call back, Anthony, because I know you have a part two. Call right back. I didn't do that on purpose. I said the same exact thing in regards to the draft, that everybody was happy with saying certain things. They're happy with the image of having the draft here, but they didn't understand how to creatively create an ongoing situation for entrepreneurs here. And the bottom line is, and it kind of ties into the whole thing I got caught up in online earlier this week. When you have political monopolies places, people have their internal spats that only focuses on like 5% of the electorate. And instead of focusing on the whole electorate and the whole of problem solving, in being visionary and historic with the works that you put into place, history making is we're going to be the first county in the United States that puts, parental leave into place for X amount of time. It's the right thing to do. No, what you have to do is increase the quality of life. If you bring more jobs to the region and people are competing, they'll do it on their own. They'll give you flexible PTO options. They'll do it on their own where they're not killing their business. Everybody wants to be patriotic until it's time to trust other Americans to come up with solutions, and you work with them to do that. Local leaders here don't do that because, let's just be honest, everybody's in the same echo chamber, saying the same things and trying the same things over and over and over again and wondering why we're not getting a different result. Anthony, I'm coming back to you after the news on News Radio KDKA.
While you sleep, there are people you've never met who are working hard to make your morning. People who get up at ungodly hours to make sure you get the information you want. People who dedicate their lives to make yours better while you sleep. These people come together during the Big K Morning Show with Larry Richert, 5:30 to 10 in the morning, to make sure you have the best news, traffic, and weather to start your day. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. My best advice to you when hiring a lawyer for your injury case is simple. If you know court personnel, ask them who they'd hire. They know. If you know an insurance adjuster, ask them. They know. And then ask them about us. Ask them about Morgan & Morgan. They know. I look forward to talking to you soon. There's only one Morgan & Morgan, America's.
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania lawyer will handle Pennsylvania cases. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
Join Rob Pratt every Sunday at 11 a.m. for Black and Gold Sunday, presented by Coons Market, your hometown Pittsburgh grocer. Rob keeps you posted on Pittsburgh sports with 2 hours of exciting talk. That's Black and Gold Sunday, 11 to 1, presented each week by Coons Market.
100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA, covered by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 platinum roofing company.
KDKA and KDKA-FM HD2 Pittsburgh. W261AX Pittsburgh.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Aetna Medicare studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Heather Bosch. Ukraine launches its biggest drone attack on Russia in over a year. 4 people are dead, the BBC's Moira Alderson reports.
President Zelensky says Ukraine's mass overnight drone attack on 14 regions across Russia is entirely justified as a response to Moscow's prolongation of the war and its continuing attacks on Ukraine's cities. He said the attack on Moscow, including its main oil refinery, sent a clear message that the Russian state must end its war.
With President Trump returning from a high-stakes meeting with China's president, Taiwan's representative to the U.S. tells CBS's Face the Nation.
We'll see, but President Trump, when he was in Beijing the last 2 days, he mentioned that he heard a lot about Taiwan, but the problem is he heard only their side of the story. He heard the Chinese story. I think if he has time, would love to tell him our side of the story, the Taiwan story, which is one that of resiliency.
Taiwan says it's independent while China still claims the territory. 2 U.S. Navy jets were involved in a crash today at an air show at western Idaho's Mountain Home Air Force Base. An event organizer says all 4 crew members safely ejected. A day-long rally in Washington, D.C. aims to rededicate the country as one nation under God. Republican South Carolina Senator Tim Scott.
America has proven to be a resilient nation when we humble ourselves before the King of Kings, the Almighty God.
Some conservatives argue the U.S. was founded as a Christian nation, although historians often dispute that. In Minnesota, the Flanders wildfire has grown to 1,200 acres. Crow Wing County Sheriff Eric Klang.
We've had some secondary structures that have been destroyed, like sheds and outbuildings and a sort, but for the most part, we're in pretty good shape.
Governor Tim Walz has activated the National Guard to help, says crowds surged in anticipation of a new watch.
Hundreds hope to get their hands on a limited release Swatch watch. Cole Reichert arrived at 5:45 a.m.
More people started to come. More police officers started to come.
All of the commotion was over a collaboration between Swatch and luxury watchmaker Audemars Piguet, with watches priced starting around $400. Some of the watches are already reselling online for thousands above retail. Upper Merion police said people attempted to get inside the mall before opening. None of you are going in. Police say some people tried to break down doors and one person was arrested on trespassing-related charges.
This is CBS News.
It's one of the most successful law and justice programs in television history that continues to uncover the truth. 48 Hours, Saturday on CBS and streaming on Paramount+.
Chuck McDowell here with Red Pocket Mobile. How long have you been stuck with the same phone plan? 2 years? 5? 10? Are you tired of surprise fees and confusing bills? Switch to Red Pocket Mobile. With Red Pocket Mobile, premium 5G plans start at just $10 a month. Pick a plan, lock in your rate, and that's the number you'll see on your bill every month. No hidden fees and no long-term contracts. And here's the kicker. Red Pocket lets you choose from 3 major 5G networks, not just one. Pick the network that actually works where you live and where you work. Try one, and if you like it, keep it. If not, switch to another. Never be stuck with a single network again. Plus, keep your phone, keep your number. Red Pocket Mobile, your new ultimate cell carrier.
New customers can switch and save 50%. Choose from all 3 major 5G networks with one locked-in low price and no contracts at redpocket.com. Redpocket.com.
It was the last hurrah for Republican Senator Bill Cassidy in Louisiana's GOP primary.
Cassidy had the power of President Trump's endorsement working against him and for challenger Julia Letlow, a Trump loyalist in the House.
God bless President Trump.
She goes to a runoff against Louisiana's treasurer, John Fleming. Cassidy earned Trump's ire by voting to remove him from office over the insurrection at the Capitol. He was gracious toward his opponents.
I congratulated them both.
Allowing himself a pointed reference to democracy.
Sometimes it doesn't turn out the way you want it to, but you don't pout, you don't whine, you don't claim the election was stolen.
Michael Toscano, CBS News.
The Trump administration has run the names of at least 67 million voters through government databases as it looks for non-citizens and people who've died. Critics say outdated and incomplete data will lead to eligible voters being wrongly disenfranchised before the crucial midterm elections. I'm Heather Bosch, CBS News.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Partly cloudy tonight, low 62. Sunshine and very warm tomorrow, high 90. Patchy clouds tomorrow night, low 69. Partly sunny with an afternoon thunderstorm Tuesday, high 88. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Ka Erickson, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
All right, let me go back to the phone lines, 866-391-1020. Anthony, I did say I hung up on you by accident. My bad. Continue, please, sir.
Well, see, here's what's happening here. Let's be clear. The woman who's the head of the Allegheny County Health Department is a Democratic socialist. And she's got Democratic socialists on the county council. And so this is their utopia.
And Sarah Inamorato's background when she won her primary back in, I believe it was 2018, was running, her and Summerlee were running, they were initially Democratic socialists that ran to the left of the Costas, won the primary, and then when people called them out on it, it's like, we're really only Democrats. So let's not give Sarah Inamorato a pass either.
Well, I'm not. You didn't allow me to get there.
No, I'm not saying you. I'm saying we, not you as Anthony.
Well, of course she is. That's why they're nonsense about immigration and tax to billionaires. Hey, here's a news flash to all you Democratic socialists out there, types. The billionaires are the ones who create the private sector jobs, folks, and small businesses. So, I know you folks like to play with monopoly money, which is government money, and you like to just give it all away. But if you chase all business away, then there's no tax base, you fools. So I'm sick of these people. See, I can understand why David Weck has decided to be an independent now, because after 55 years as a Democrat, I'm considering doing the same thing. The problem is I like to vote in primaries, and unfortunately we can't do that in this state, which is also barbaric. But I'm sick of these people. They come and see, this is a way around the union. See, here's what they want to do. It's sinister. What they're trying to pull, just like Gainey was trying to do at UPMC, is a way to unionize, okay? And they're quasi-union, which is give them union benefits and they could still be at-will employees. That's what they're trying to pull here, because these perks they're trying to give at-will employees are perks that we as union members get. So this is nonsense. That's why you have to go to court if you're a business. Pull your monies together. Go and file an injunction on this Stop it now. As a matter of fact, make it retroactive and go back to even get rid of the one where they said 25 employees, because they don't have the authority to do it. My goodness, it's so frustrating to be sitting here as a private citizen and know these things and watch all these so-called Republicans and business people just stand there and get slapped in the face and do nothing.
And part of that, Anthony, goes to the fact that they're trying to play the go along, the get along. Some of these folks do not want to be disruptors in a system because, let's just be honest, if you have very little competition in this region, it benefits you, because if you have the resources and you have the political connections, even though you don't have the partisan alignment, you still win economically. So for some of these folks, and I'm not calling specific people out per se, but some of these individuals are not saying much, in large part because if you're competing against one other business versus 7 other businesses, and you've been here for 60 years, you're probably going to do okay, even if the system stays broken.
Yeah, but small business can't. They don't have that luxury.
But I get that.
You got 3 or 4 employees. You can't be hit with an unfunded mandate like this.
Anthony, I appreciate your call, and I get that. I understand that. But the people that are connected to the people that are in office, the people that are okay with where we are and the glacial pace of growth, they benefit from these conditions. Look, I'm going to say the quiet thing out loud before I go back to the phone lines at 866-391-1020. There are people in this region that don't want it to grow. They want Pittsburgh to stay just the way it is. And it benefits them. But then, of course, we'll look at the numbers every now and then and be like, oh, we're not growing. We're not keeping young people. Jobs are bleeding out of here still. Our tax base is eroding. Our infrastructure's crumbling. People seem to forget we made jokes out of a sinkhole in downtown Pittsburgh. There was a sinkhole with a PRT bus, former PAT bus, in downtown Pittsburgh. There was a PAT bus on the bridge, on the Fern Hollow Bridge, that collapsed. I was driving down Route 30 yesterday with my dad. And I was like, people forget, part of Route 30 just collapsed. So we either step it up or those things happen every now and then and we shrug our shoulders. But hey, Aaron Rodgers is coming back. Hey, Paul Skeens is looking good. Some people winning some sports competitions does not make us the most livable city, everybody. Some people being able to have an affordable living and other people not being able to afford a home does not make Pittsburgh the most livable city. A couple of articles that are written about us or some people saying, isn't the city pretty during a Sunday night football game or during the draft does not make this the most livable city. Doing it takes vision and it takes work on an ongoing basis to tie people together. Oftentimes people that don't usually work together. And it certainly does not take policies that you may not be able to afford. Now, if you look at it from a altruistic point of view, should you have the level of leave that they're talking about? Is that great altruistically? Of course it is. And I'm sure that they can find studies of other countries that do this. But the other countries that do this do not have the economic systems that we have. They don't have the educational systems that we have. They're structured completely differently, and they don't even have the populations that we have. So more often than not, we're comparing apples to automobiles. Now, does that mean you don't try to go towards the more perfect that you're trying to go towards? Sure you do. But we keep hearing stories about how we don't have money in this region. To take on another expense is not a good idea. To possibly chase businesses out of here is not a good idea. It just isn't. Again, morally, ethically, that's one thing. Pragmatically, from a business perspective, economically, that's a different thing. How do you marry the two together? That's where it takes division and the political will to do it. And not the political will, by the way, to just jam it through. That's not very hard to do. That's not good politics. We got plenty of politics at the federal and local levels and state levels where people just jam through policies that are like, this sounds good. For example, let me give you one. Hey, we shouldn't draw districts for voting based on race. We should treat everybody equally. Altruistically, on the surface, that sounds like a great idea. Then we look at the history of the United States of America. Oh, wait, every time we do this, we just kind of truncate people's ability to be represented. We kind of literally push people to the periphery of society. We find ways to discriminate. People should be able to associate with the people that they love and they like. We shouldn't force people to have associations. On the surface, that's a great idea until you start applying it to, businesses. It's my private business. If I don't want gay people in my business, I shouldn't have them here. I don't want black people in my business. I don't want Jews in my business. I'm a Christian. I should be able to do that. So there is the altruistic, rhetorical, theoretical, pie in the sky, no unintended or intended consequences to deal with. And then there's the reality of what you have to do. The real world that you live in. And with that policy, and I know that caught a lot of, high wind earlier in the week. When you talk about that from an economic standpoint, and you're only talking about doing the right thing for families, and you're not talking about doing the right things for all different types of families, including families that want to stay in Allegheny County, families that want to buy a home, families that want to create a family business, it's nice to look at it from an altruistic standpoint, but you got to look at it from all sides. Not that I planned on going down that path, because I did not. This is kind of what happened online too with the other thing with the transgender flyer that went out. I just made a point online about, hey, the region's going to be caught up in a primary over two sides of a very small faction having a fight over who they want to be their state house rep as far as a nominee, and probably their state house rep because it's going to be a blue district. And how when you have one party rule, you're at the whims of these very insular political fights. Now, you can take it one step further based on what Anthony called in on, is you could say same exact thing. When you have one party running the board, you get these type of policy discussions without any type of nuance. I am certain you can go to red counties, quote unquote red counties, and do the same exact thing. We've seen instances of it. You can't, quote unquote, take back America unless if you take back a sense of balance and decorum and the whole premise of the system, which is compromise. All the way back to the Federalist Papers, which I wrote about in a book. It talks about compromise. Nobody wants to do that anymore. 866-391-1020. I will take a break. And then I will go to Gary, Dan, Craig. But after the break on News Radio KDKA.
Now more than ever, we're the station you can trust for the information you need. KDKA.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
In a world in need of a hero, one man rises to the challenge in style. He is...
just driving the kids to soccer practice.
Make every day feel epic in the all-new Hyundai Palisade Hybrid with up to an EPA-estimated 619 miles of range on select trims, advanced tech, and class-leading interior space. Visit HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603 for more details.
And hey, come on, no cleats on the seats.
When you get a diagnosis of Parkinson's disease, things get real.
And nobody understands that better than the Parkinson's Foundation. All across the country, we provide resources and support in the fight against Parkinson's, a neurological disease that affects movement.
The Parkinson's Foundation is dedicated to improving care and advancing research towards a cure.
And when you call our helpline, you'll speak to a real person who can help you find the right information. Because while living with Parkinson's can be challenging, there are things you can do to improve your quality of life. So, whether you're newly diagnosed, have been living with Parkinson's for years, or caring for a loved one,
when Parkinson's gets real, find real answers at the Parkinson's Foundation.
Go to parkinson.org or call our helpline at 1-800-4PD-INFO, 1-800-473-4636. The Parkinson's Foundation. Better lives together.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Billy, your gas light's on. We need to stop and fill up.
No way, Jen. Gas around here is too expensive. We can make it a little further.
Billy, listen to your big sister. You don't need to drive all over searching for the lowest gas prices. Do what I do and use Upside.
Upside?
Do you live under a rock, Billy? Upside is the hottest cashback app out there. It's free to download, and you get real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. I use it all the time, and I've already made around $200.
You can make that kind of cash back just for buying the gas you have to buy anyway?
Yes, I'm looking at the Upside app now, and there's a gas station at the next exit offering 25 cents per gallon cash back.
Okay, I'm stopping to download Upside and fill up my tank. Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code BLING to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code BLING for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code BLING for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
You served behind the desk.
You served in combat.
You did 4 years and got out.
You were drafted.
You gave 20 years.
You gave exactly what your country needed.
And so did you.
When you raised your hand and of only 1% of Americans who did the same. You are a veteran.
You are a veteran.
You are a veteran. Because no matter when, where, or how you served, you made a sacrifice for your country, and you deserve support.
If you're struggling with life after service, don't wait. Reach out.
Reach out to a loved one, to a fellow veteran, to VA.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
The KDKA radio text line is driven by Kenny Ross Auto Group. Find your best deal and Pittsburgh's best warranty at kennyross.com.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
The 50,000-watt voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
All right, going back to the phone lines, 866-391-1020. Gary in Georgia, you're on KDKA.
Hi, Lenny. How you been?
I'm doing well, child of God. How are you?
Yeah, you sound good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm okay. Last time I checked, I'll take another reading later. How's that?
That's the way to do it.
All right. Now, I've been listening with interest, and the one thing I think should be noted right off the top of here is that the one thing you said that I say too, I totally agree with. There are an awful lot of good people out there.
Yes.
Millions, a lot of people out there that have good, don't really have negative agendas, and they're just good people with values. The problem is, and I know you've heard this from me before, but I'm going to stay with it. The problem is, the reality is this. With all the good people, with all that we have in America, we haven't, right now, so far, I'm so hopeful that we haven't been able to overcome the greed, the entrenched greed in our country, in our culture. Greed is just not in terms of money. It is money when you think about it, physically, but it's more than that. It's how you treat one another, and I think this is what you're alluding to. It's how you treat one another. You said compromise. Treat one another, and how you minister government. That requires compromise by volumes of people to overcome. So far, would you agree we haven't so far been able to overcome it far right now?
No, and to your point, undervaluing of what America truly is, which is this collection and this quilted fabric of many different cultures from different backgrounds and traditions over 250 years that have come together into this very unique experimental society that's been the envy of the world by and large for most of its existence.
But something has changed fundamentally here in our culture, I believe, and everybody feels it. I may be talking directly at it, but people are feeling it in other ways. True?
No, I agree with that, and I think in very many regards, Gary, people feel entitled to be number one. They have ill-defined what winning in America is. They have ill-defined what the American dream is. They have ill-defined fitting into their place. They think their place is on top of the pedestal. They believe the American dream is I win and you lose.
You know there's a reason for that?
Why is that?
Yeah, you're right. You know what the real reason is? Comes down to one word. We don't have enough humility in the culture anymore.
That, my good man, is right on point. I talk about the theme song talks about going back to humble servant leadership like we used to see in politics. But you can expand that to the citizenship as well. In the citizenry, we do not have a level of humble citizenship with the everyday American these days.
Right. So I know me and you are exactly. Anybody that's listening, I know this conversation is pretty deep. And on the second part of it, it's really not that difficult to understand. It's about humility at a personal level. And when you have less of it in a culture, let me ask this question: at what price success? At what price?
Well,
to lose our country?
Well, here's the thing, Gary, and I know I'm going up against a break, so I'm going to answer this question before I let you go.
Yeah, that's all right.
The thing is this: it's not at what price success, because if you do that, then people will give you different answers. That's a trick question. Yeah. The bottom line is, how do you define success? I know you weren't trying to, but I'm saying what people will get focused on that. The challenge really is, how do you define success? What does success mean to you? And when did it just become how much money you have or how many things you have? Success in America was supposed to be chasing that pursuit of happiness, that self-fulfillment, that self-determination, and then being good with that, which is why, by the way, safe neighborhoods in a working class community, even in a 1,000-foot, square-foot house, to have the safety to walk down your street, to go to decent schools, and to have that quality of life that you deserve.
So you're closing, I will say this. I say the reason why this is going on and we're not making enough inroads is because we don't have enough humanity and humility in the culture like we did before. That's what I believe. Until we turn that around, we're in serious trouble.
Gary, God bless you, and I appreciate your call, and I agree with you. The truth is that anytime you do something great, if you focus on the greatness and you don't do it with humility, it will devour you. You're a great communicator, but let's just be honest. If you're a great communicator and you don't know how to listen, not only will you not become a better communicator over time, you will lose that superpower. And you'll lose the impact that you have and the sway that you have overall. If you are a great shooter in basketball and you don't learn how to pass the ball, you will constantly be triple teamed. And as a result, you'll never get a shot off again because they'll start guarding you at the end line. They'll guard you at half court, and you'll never get an open shot on the offensive end of the floor. If you're a great receiver and you don't know how to block, your team will never run the ball, which means that you're going to be bracketed the whole time with a linebacker underneath as well. You'll never get the football. Being a great American citizen involves understanding the greatness of America, but also having the humility to protect that great gift. And Gary, you're right. Not enough of us have that anymore. Craig, Dan, Luciano coming to you after the news. Last half an hour coming up on News Radio KDKA.
The birds are singing, the flowers are in bloom, the sun is shining. What more can we ask for? Maybe to feel great and be the best version of ourselves. This is Dr. Shufo from the Weight Loss and Wellness Center. Isn't it time to take care of ourselves now? We put it off during the cold, dark, dreary days of winter. But it's time now. Get rid of that extra weight, which affects our movement, our physical health, and yes, affects our mental and emotional health. Have more self-confidence and self-esteem. Be happy, be healthy, be alive. Call me at 1-800-900-THIN.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell, definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something, really call me, and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-948-7878. That's 800-948-7878.
You've probably heard all those ads for life insurance. Just a few dollars a day, apply online in minutes, no medical exam. Simple, easy, and cheap, right? Now you're thinking, maybe I should get a quote. Well, smart thinking. Everyone should have life insurance. But here's what they don't tell you. Those few dollars a day rates, they're for young people in perfect health. That's why everyone calls Big Lou the 50 to 60-year-old not-so-perfect candidate. Like you. You take prescription meds, and you're overweight. Winner, winner, fried chicken dinner. Well, Big Lou works with life insurance companies that want people like you with no surprises after you apply. In fact, if you're a 50-year-old guy with a few health glitches, Lou could probably find you $1 million of term life coverage for about $200 a month. So yeah, you need life insurance. But unless you're young and healthy, you gotta call Big Lou, because he's like you, older, heavier, and on meds too. Get a quote right now at 800-777-1979. 800-777-1979 or biglou.com.
From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
CBS News Brief. Russian officials say massive Ukrainian drone strikes overnight killed at least 4 people, including 3 near Moscow. The BBC's Shasha Slichter.
Ukraine's attacks of recent months, culminating in last night's, have brought President Putin's war back home. And Russians, already annoyed at curbs on their internet calls and rising prices, are not happy.
As President Trump returns from China, Taiwan's representative to the U.S. insists
we are sovereign, independent, away from the Chinese People's Republic of China's attempt to swallow us as one of their own.
Ambassador Alexander Yui on CBS's Face the Nation. Wildfires are burning across Minnesota, but there's progress fighting the 1,200-acre Flanders fire. Crow Wing County Sheriff Eric Klang.
With this fire, it's not 100% contained, but certainly we got a good handle on it today. Hopefully today with the weather and stuff, we'll have a better handle on it.
CBS News Brief, I'm Heather Bosch.
We've got some marvelous May savings at Coons Market. Isn't that right, Frank Dentisi?
Right, Rob. In our meat department, all natural pork baby bags, $1.99 each. In the deli, Coons fresh chef salads are $6.99 each. And additional savings this week, selected varieties of turkey heel ice cream, 46-ounce containers, 2 for $7.
Get in on those marvelous May savings at Coons Market, a Pittsburgh tradition.
This is Marty Griffin. I have seen so much anger these days. You know what's overwhelmed me with joy and optimism? This Get Marty. The folks in this community that have stepped up. You can't help your neighbor if you hate your neighbor. Get Marty epitomizes that opportunity to help people, feed people, clothe people, educate people. If you need me, get Marty at KDKRadio.com. It's where we will find a way to help you.
Presented by UPMC Health System, Phil DeLuceni and Associates, Cousins Roofing, Siding and Decks, and by Harold Shepley and Associates.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL or visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on. Visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell and Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. Pittsburgh and Cranberry Township. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois.
My dad passed away unexpectedly. Of course, it was awful in every way, but we are very grateful that he had life insurance. So even after he was gone, he was still able to provide for us. And that's why I have life insurance for my family. Ethos.com. They make it fast and easy to get covered. It's 100% online. You get a quote in seconds, and you can apply in minutes. You get covered the same day.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/protect. That's ethos.com/protect. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Everyone needs to take care of their mental health, even running back Bijan Robinson.
When I'm on the field and feeling the pressure, I usually just take a deep breath. When I'm just breathing and seeing what's in front of me, everything just slows down. It just makes me feel great before I run the play.
Just like Bijan, we all need a strong mental game on and off the field. Make a game plan for your mental health at loveyourmindplaybook.org.
Love your mind.
Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Foundation, the Arthur M. Blank Family Foundation, and the Ad Council.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing.
Patchy clouds tonight, low 62. Sunny and quite warm tomorrow, high 90. Partly cloudy tomorrow night, low 69. Perhaps an afternoon thunderstorm on Tuesday, high 88. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Scott Erickson, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
All right, let's get through that weekend, and I'll catch you on Monday. Lots going on Monday, and I'll talk to you then, 2 to 6. Colin Dunlap right here, KDK.
All right, back to the phone lines, 866-391-1020, 866-391-1020. Dan, I appreciate your patience. You're on KDKA.
Yeah, I disconnected myself and had to call back. I came in when Bishop was talking, and I thought, this sounds like what I think it sounds like, and it started to irk me off. But I just wanted to say that when I think of you, the first thing I think about is how you raise your children. And from what you've said and examples you've given, not whether you're white or black, or it's what you're involved with as your priorities and dedication. So that's where I see how people truly are, because they're dealing with their most important obligation as a adult parent in a responsible way. That's just always when I think of you. That's the first thing. And then,
thank you for that.
Was going on about how many black people did Trump take over? I think he took 5. I didn't pay attention to the news for about 3 days. I knew Musk was supposed to be one of them. I think he was trying to take some wall bangers over, because, you have to resonate with the Chinese and get some points across.
And he took over tech leaders. He took over a very specific sector of the American economy that he's competing against the Chinese. And if the demographic doesn't meet, it's not a sign of racism in that regard. It wasn't that type of party, if you will.
And I didn't know who else was going, whether they be black or white. That wasn't my point. And then he mentioned something, or there was some talk about Kamala, and I'm like, God, is people still talking about her? She is so inept. She was so inept. She didn't have a stranglehold on her office. And for a long time, since Willie Brown, I don't think she knew what credibility was. It was how you get there.
And you have a dog in the fight, so I understand what you're saying. I will also say that Senator Bartolotta has had her face. I mean, anytime you go on the Pennsylvania Turnpike, you could see her billboards.
They've
been there for years.
I agree with you.
And she has been involved in several. I've seen her in the school choice fight. I've seen her in other instances over my political career. So I know that she's done some things, but I also know that you all got a dogfight going on down there between those two that's going to end on Tuesday night.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I was referring to Kamala Harris, not.
Oh, I thought you said Kamala like Bartolotta. So my bad on that.
Exactly what you said is correct. It is a dogfight, and I hear ads going back and forth and the weeks and all this stuff, and it's touch and go. It's a tough thing to try to make our politicians accountable. We've lost a lot of traction a long time ago, and who you really believe in and trust, because politics is not a religion, but people get so up about it that you can't. It's too hard. You're almost forced to make a decision and go with the status quo for what you think and not of what is. And that's what irritates me, because I thought the reference was to Kamala Harris, and I just thought she had no credibility. And the same with Newsom. He is so fundamentally flawed and disillusioned. But that's all I wanted to say. I wanted to end up with the responsible citizenry and the civility and how people should be. I've got good friends that are black people. A gentleman I saw the other day, I've been asking about for 6-7 months, and I saw him last Wednesday, and I was glad to shake his hand. He was in a mobile chair. He could probably walk, but he's gotten accustomed to that, and I was just glad to see him. I told him truly, I said, man, I'm glad you're here. That was it. That's all it takes. One-on-one, be respectful, and look at the person. That's all. That's all it is in my book.
Dan, Dan, first of all, I appreciate your phone call. Second of all, I appreciate the compliment you gave me. And third, I agree with you. That's what we can do as everyday citizens. And then the people that are in, positions of authority. And I say that less about police show. You are a business leader. You are a teacher. You're a principal. You are in a position of authority because people gravitate to what you say. So there's a level of responsibility that comes with what you say. As citizens, we can make the most of that. And if we do that all collectively and go in the right direction enough, the things that we're frustrated with, the status quo that's not working, the dysfunction that's not working, the same type of politicians, the same type of policies, the same type of arguments can finally erode away and get something newer and fresher and better. So I concur with you, but that's not a political thing. That's a cultural thing. It goes back to what Gary from Georgia said. That's a cultural thing. It's not a political thing. That's just what we need to do as Americans civically, not politically or from a partisan lens. That's just an everyday thing that you can do at the grocery store, as well as at church, as well as at school, as well as in the voting booth, as well as just walking down the street. 866-391-1020. Luciano, you're on KDK.
Thank you, Lenny, for taking my call. I'm just going to say this quickly. I thank the good Lord Jesus Christ. He was merciful to me. I used to live on the streets of Skid Road in Los Angeles, and he had mercy on me. He set me free. I've been around a lot of blacks that were homeless and are still homeless. I have a soft spot in my heart for homeless people, especially the dirty little secret, how many blacks, African Americans are living homeless on the streets while we're catering to migrants. I speak as a Puerto Rican, as a Latino. I'm absolutely for American citizens, and it brings tears to my heart that I used to see, and they're still out there. Over 900,000. There's so many black women and black men and white men and all kinds of men living on the streets. That's why I left the Democratic Party, Lenny, and I'm voting straight Republican Tuesday, Lenny.
I appreciate that, Luciano. I love you, but I knew it was going into a public service announcement, and those come up during the commercial breaks. I love you, though, and I concur with you on the homelessness. We need to make sure that American citizens get the services that they need, but I don't want to do that by demonizing people that have either illegally or legally come to this country looking for a better way of life. So I'm not going to try to, conflate two different issues completely. Okay, I'm going to try to run through these calls because I love y'all and I enjoy talking to you all. So let me try to do that as best I can. Dave in Wilkinsburg, you're on KDK.
Hey, the culture war is not taking from me because I did share it with them this morning on their telephone line, possibly putting a schoolhouse type building, adobe or a log cabin, old-time log cabin, or a new adobe fixture in for one area. They could do this all over the city, really, have one-room classrooms that benefit a group of youth that want to learn about things that are important in the present age, in our culturally good times, such as nature walks or space. Adobe could have PPG paint glass in the top of it to culturally enrich the young people that would take the classes as to looking up to the sky instead of looking down at the street and sidewalks of some areas of the city.
Well, Dave, I appreciate your phone call. I hope that Channel 4 doesn't take your idea. They might. I don't know. 866-391-1020. I am going through the phone calls. I'm trying to get to all of you. Craig in West Virginia, you're on KDKA.
How you doing, Lenny?
What's going on, child of God? How are you?
Doing good. Hope you're doing the same.
You have to be succinct today. You have to be succinct. You have to be concise.
All right. We're going to follow up with Anthony, you and Anthony's phone call real quick. I got 2 quick points.
Okay.
There are actually somewhere between 10 and 15 states right now that currently have mandatory, 12 weeks off for maternal leave.
Give me some of the states. Give me some of the states.
Delaware, New Jersey, New York, Maryland.
People leaving Delaware. People leaving New Jersey. People leaving New York.
I'm not saying I agree.
I'm saying that was my argument, though, which was, and I'm sure California has something too, and they're all going to Texas. But go ahead.
Well, there are red states also, but my point is, I'm not saying I agree with it. All I was making a point was that it's already out there, and here's why I made that point. When Joe Biden was trying to do college debt relief, he knew that first attempt was going to fail. But what that does is it puts the bug in the ear of everybody in the country. What has happened on KDKA since this maternity leave thing has happened? Every single show from the day it happened, it has been talked about. Do you actually believe that Sarah Anamorado does not understand that a business with 3 employees cannot afford to do that?
No. What I believe is, and here's the difference, it's much like what you had when President Barack Obama had a supermajority in 2009. It's one thing to put this out there as a negotiating point. It's a different thing when you have a supermajority. And much like 44, this current county executive has a supermajority on county council. So we're no longer talking about, well, let's throw this out there and try to negotiate for something, working with both sides to get something done. We're talking about, if we want to do this, we can get this done. Let me throw it out there. And if we're all politically aligned, that's what's going to transpire. That's what we had with 2009. That's what this is in regards to this possible proposal that we're talking about. So it's a different political math that you're talking about when you have these supermajorities versus when you have split government and people do have to compromise. So I don't think it's the same as what you're saying.
This is happening right now. This is happening right now just so Harrisburg can sit down, talk about it, and see if it can become a statewide thing. Because from what I've seen, there are no cities, but there are plenty of states that have done this. There's something to that legally. Now the reason
I don't believe that, and the reason why, number one, again, you're not going to get it passed at the state level because the Republicans at the state level, where it is still truly split government, would not agree to it. You're not going to have a Democrat agree to it during an election year, especially when they're going through their savings as they are in Harrisburg. The only place where you can do something like this is either a city, and Pittsburgh's staring at Act 47 and possible corruption charges with the former administration, or the county, where you also have a supermajority sitting there, and they're going into an election year where this could be an election type of issue, if you will, but also something that they can hang their hat on. So I don't agree that they're trying to find this at a state level, because the political will and avenue is not there at the state level in Pennsylvania.
And once again, just to reiterate, I am more against it than I am for it. Although I'm open.
I understand. I'm just saying the political, and I'm going to let you get to your last point before I let you go. What I'm trying to say is the political numbers to throw it out there, or even throw it as a trial balloon, doesn't make sense. The only way it would work is with the numbers that you have in Allegheny County, and hope that you can get it through before you start facing the consequences electorally in 2027. Go with your other point real quick, Craig, before I let you go.
The lawsuit with the IRS with Donald Trump, what's we settling for? $1.7 billion. It's going to go to the insurrectionists. Everybody knows what's coming in November. Everybody knows it. And there are subpoenas being written as me and you are speaking. Do you believe that he is buying his posse for the next insurrection?
He's trying to make sure he shores up his base. I don't know if he's buying it for the next posse, for the next insurrection, but I will say that he knows that he is losing, quote unquote, true believers. So you have to shore up true believers. Well, if they prove nothing on January 6, 2021, is the fact that they are indeed true believers of MAGA.
Well, let's fast forward to November 7th of this year. The subpoenas come out. Donald Trump is indicted. What do you think his next move is going to be? Do you think he's going to honor the subpoenas, or is he going to call another ellipse meeting?
Donald Trump has a way of getting around the legal parameters of what most people would do in the United States. I think he would find a way to get around it, and then based on how the elections went, he would have some social media posts to talk about that. Craig, I got to go. I got one more phone call. Tom on the South Side. Tom, you're on KDKA.
Hey, Lonnie. Craig, kind of touch on the IRS. Next time I go to court, I want to be both the plaintiff and defendant. And then have the taxpayers fund my settlement. Because that's exactly what he's doing. He as I'm sure you're aware. And the only reason he's settling it now is because if he doesn't settle it now, it's going to go before a judge, I think, at the end of the month, and the judge is going to throw the damn case out because it's garbage.
Here's my point with all this, Tom. When these things happen, I tell people that there's going to be an awful lot of civic healing that's going to have to transpire very soon. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to have different positions on this era, and we're really going to have to learn. We're really going to have to learn about who wants to be a true patriot, who really wants to save America, who really wants to put America first, and who just went along for the ride. And every one of these type of situations, based on what you're bringing up, based on what Craig's bringing up, they're, to me, symbolic of what the greater issue is, which is the civic reckoning is coming soon, and that there's going to have to be people in place nationally that are capable of putting on their own shoulders, and there's going to be a group of people. It can't just be one person. If we're looking for another personality to do this, it's bad. But there's going to need to be a group of Americans that are able to put the level of civic healing that's going to need to transpire to fix our body politic, to fix our culture, to reinstitute confidence that America, as constituted, can work. Because there's so much that's showing us that if we're not careful and intentional, it won't work anymore. I still think it will work, but that's what it's going to take from a cultural leadership perspective. What say you before I let you go?
There's not enough citizens going on here. And shit going on here. Trump has done his best they could to corrupt the system, and it's going to take a bit. It's going to take a bit of time to recover, assuming hopefully recover. I agree with you on that point.
I'm sorry, Tom. I'm about to get out of here. I hit the button by accident. You get a BOGO next week. That is, as this continues on, because, I mean, it kind of, think about where people are. You have people that were calling in and angry about what's going on at Allegheny County Council. You have people that are angry about what's going on in the primaries, both the Democratic primaries around the country and the Republican primaries around the country. We got our own primaries coming up on Tuesday. Make sure you vote. Get a provisional ballot if you're not certain that you signed up. They will let you vote. It will be provisional. They'll go from there. But if you also think about where we are civically, it's not going to just be resolved in November. I know there are some people who are saying it's going to take care of itself with the midterms. No, it's not. What we're going through is bigger than the midterm elections. This is something that's bigger than politicians. This is something that you're going to have to be involved in, and you're going to have to teach your children and your grandchildren. You're going to have to lead in your own way to make sure that this country gets back on track. Now, do I believe that it will? I always tell you I do, because I believe in all of you. And I know there are way, way, way too many good people in America to bet against America. But that goodness has to be activated at a higher level. People can't be frustrated with the system and not engage it. And engaging it twice a year is not enough. It has to be more than that. So that's why I do what I do. I mean, again, the book. You can find it on LennyMcAllister.com, a Venn diagram of one. That's why I wrote the book. My way of saying this is